Good evening, everyone. Regular board meeting Tuesday, February 25th, 2014. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams?
Here.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Here.
Trustee Payton?
Here.
Trustee Griffin?
Present.
Trustee Rudaz?
Here.
Trustee Larry Brown? Mayor Covington?
Present. Would you all join us in the pledge of allegiance, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion for approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Rudaz, second by trustee Griffin. Questions?
I have a correction.
Yes, sir.
It's actually under the reports of elected and appointed officials.
Yes, sir.
When we had our meeting with the board of directors of the Eastern Rural County 911 board. The budget is 1.4 million, not 4 million.
Yeah, that's a difference. Okay. Any others? Roll call, please.
Trustee Williams? Aye. Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudaz?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Votes aye.
Mayor Covington?
Abstain because I was absent. Board of elected officials. Manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, co-workers and residents. My report, and I'll be very brief. We continue to put a substantial amount of work into the road project, University Park Road project, with the initial phase going from Central to Cicero. Over the last week and a half, we've been working on having this project extended to Crawford. There's some strong possibilities, been a lot of conversations about going to IDOT and South Suburban Mayors and Managers and have some money uploaded to include that reconstruction all the way up to Crawford. So we're working on that project, and we're hoping to get that on our field. We're making a lot of success as far as the right-of-ways. We still have 3 right-of-ways outstanding. We may have one toward the end of this week. We spoke with our right-of-way attorney earlier today, and we have a meeting with the other ones. We're trying to set it up for next week. We did the staff and we met with our insurance, workman's comp and our liability insurance carriers this morning. We had a very extensive meeting. The purpose of it being to continue to help staff understand how to lower our insurance liability costs with safety training and going over claims and claims adjustments and looking at repeaters and looking at the causes of our claims. So we're being very diligent as far as, educating ourselves on how to decrease the cost of our workers' comp and our liability insurance. We've done some work around the community, such as we relocated our community relations office. It's now, I believe, a 6-town center. The sign says real estate office. We're going to have those signs removed, so community relations will be in that area, and then I think it's 8-town center. So community relations will be over there. We'll be putting together welcome packages and newsletters and those sort of things for community members to come in and pick up these things and have them available to them along with announcements and flyers. We're also looking at the Technical Resource Center. The old architectural drawings have been sent back to J.O.A. Architects. They're looking to update that, which we'll be meeting with them very soon and bring it before the board to get to know what their pleasure is as far as us proceeding on this project and in the bid package. We also, at the last board meeting, we asked things such as there was an outstanding bill that was pretty controversial about the Justice for Jacob program. We did follow up on that. We've had the bill. The bill was initially calculated wrong. We had one resident who presented the bill to me. And I know that the gratuities were pretty much equal to the cost of the food. We had the bill adjusted, we sent it back out to the proprietor, the person who put together the event, and they did come in and they did pay the bill in full. And that pretty much, Joe, you want to talk about the cost of, we also looked at the cost of temporary employees versus going out to build temporary employees versus a temporary agency. Joe has done, Director Joe Jones has done some analysis. He wants to give us a very brief statement on that, and then we'll be ready to entertain any questions.
Good evening, board. What I basically did was I selected a couple personnel from each department in the summertime, like Public Works, Parks and Recs, and the golf course, and I kind of looked at what we paid David Staffing over a month period of time. Basically, David Staffing charges approximately 50% upcharge, and that's pretty much the same probably across the board with most temp agencies. You're going to have an upcharge there. If we were to bring people on our own, we would probably have, I think rule of thumb is about 30% for fringe benefits. So if you figure that we're going to pay them a rate, David has a 50% markup. We take our rate, add 30% to that. At a minimum, we should save 20%. And especially if we can manage unemployment, there are certain constraints we got to deal with unemployment. Maybe I think it's maybe they can work 89 days and they got to be laid off a period of time and brought back. But basically, I'm suggesting that we let go of the temp agencies going forward this summer and try to do it on our own.
Okay, any questions?
One question, Mr. Jones, and that's in relation to what I was asking at the prior board meeting.
That is correct.
I appreciate that report. We'll take that into advisement. Thank you so much for your report.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let me see if I understand this correctly. You're gonna hire somebody for the summer. They're gonna work 8 or 9 days. Let's say it's
89.
89 days. So they can work the entire summer and we will not have any liability for workers' comp, because the last time we went through this, part of the problem was that we were obligated to pay unemployment, for 2 years.
And we actually addressed that. We addressed it in two ways. One, you might recall we were paying 100% unemployment reimbursement. We've gone back and our unemployment board have allowed us to pay a percentage of unemployment costs rather than 100%. I think we now pay between 3.4% and 7%. And the second thing is that by monitoring them, we probably won't be their first employer that they can draw unemployment on. They have to be available and able to work to draw unemployment. But we're hiring mostly college students, high school students, and people who really aren't available for work after the summer. And that should also kind of alleviate a lot of that pressure.
So we're only going to allow them to work at 89 days, and that's it?
Correct. If we have someone who's like a good performer, after 89 days, we may need to do something such as lay them off for 2 weeks and then restart the clock on them, so they wouldn't be eligible to file an employment with us as their employer.
Okay.
Trustee Williams.
Yes, Manager Lanier, I had emailed you notes asking you to check into with Robinson Engineer about the overpass. I text you a note letting you know I would like you to check into IDOT about the overpass. Did you do that?
Yes, I did. Trustee Williams, what I did, I conferred with our engineers. We drafted a letter to IDOT asking them to examine the overpass for our railroad. The letter is being prepared for the mayor's signature. We'll present it to the mayor as soon as it's ready, sometime later on this week, and then we'll forward that letter over to IDOT.
Okay, did you stress how important this is for us to have this overpass at the same time we have our exit coming up?
What we're asking them for is a study, because it's an IDOT project. We're asking them to put a study on their books. We are stressing that it is important to us, but IDOT would have to conduct the study.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, question.
Madam Mayor, I'm asking that you give direction or call Aqua, and I know Aqua doesn't have a problem when anyone has a bill due. They have the phone. They'll call you when your bill is late or when it's pending late or whatever. It was another water main break on Sullivan. One of the residents emailed the trustees, and she had a valid point. Why can't Aqua call me and let me know that there's a break? How long the break will be? And to me, that's a legitimate concern. So I'd like you to let Aqua know, call Aqua, whoever, let them know, hey, when you have outage, our residents deserve to know that there's a break in that area, how long that break will last, when will it be fixed?
Excuse me, trustee, so are you referring to a system similar to what Commonwealth Edison uses when there's going to be a power outage?
That is correct.
Just to give notice to our consumers?
That is correct. They have no problem with raising the bill. Because some of the rates, our rates have went really through the roof. But they give no service. They don't, and you know, it's really disrespectful that they can't even call the residents, hey, your water's gonna be off for 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours. We'll have it back on at such and such a time.
Trustee, I will draft this letter and forward it to Aqua. I do notice that we have a representative from Aqua in our audience today, so you can post it, we'll post it rather than me trying to speak for someone else. I'll write the letter and perhaps we can raise this question again when they come to the public.
And I'm pretty sure no member of the board will rail against that. I think they all will be on board with that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So as far as complaints, we had some, when we had a meeting with Governor State Friday about the road there as far as the maintenance and holes. Could you explain how that's being covered as far as the maintenance and filling those holes?
Sure, Mayor. I talked about that briefly. We do have public works workers who go out and try to put asphalt into those potholes that this winter is exerting on us. The problem is that it's almost like putting asphalt on top of gravel. So it's such a temporary fix because the road it's been neglected for so long. That's why when I spoke earlier in my report, I said that we're trying to push this road into this 2015 reconstruction. We're going to try to get them on the August bid to actually have the road reconstructed. I'm also spent some time, with engineers, and we'll be out there again this week trying to find some way to make the road somewhat less of an obstacle for us for this spring and summer and fall. But again, we're out there, we're patching it, but the road is in such disrepair that it's almost like putting asphalt on top of gravel. I mean, as soon as the weather changes 10 or 20 degrees, it pops right back out.
Right, did we contract anyone else, or it's just straight our?
Public Works has a ton of asphalt, which they out there dumping every day. So I'm out there patching it today. But again, it's not, we are spending some time on that road. We're giving it a lot of attention this week. We're trying to find some way, to alleviate that road condition.
Thank you, because that's the complaints that we were getting constantly, and I need the public to know what's really going on with that. It was another question. Oh, I know, I wasn't here last meeting, and I talked about the audits. Are we going to continuously have those updates with the auditors, with the board, that we had agreed to? I know Trustee Larry Brown had made that request. Was that discussed, that we will have constant updates?
The auditors,
Regular updates, right?
the auditors will work for the mayor and the board of trustees the same as I, and they are willing to come and update you as information is available to update.
Thank you very much.
One last question.
Yes, Trustee Ruiz?
Manager Engineer, going back to the road repairs, what resolve would a resident have if they hit a hole and there's damage to the rims or tires on their car? I mean, they asked me, so I gotta ask you, I stay out the management experience.
It's the village's responsibility to maintain roads. When you damage your vehicle on a village road, then the village has a responsibility to make you whole,
Okay.
unless we close down the road.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, question?
So let me follow up on that, because that, how does somebody that has a claim like that prove that it didn't happen on 183rd Street? I was driving down 183rd, it was a huge hole there, or some other street somewhere. They claim it's, University Park, because maybe they live here. How do we even begin to create some sort of objectivity or justice related to that?
What our process is when people come to Village Hall and say that they've damaged their tires or wheels driving around University Parkway, they normally take pictures and show that there were potholes there, and they usually give us a statement. We forward this information over to the insurance company, who evaluate it, because the insurance company actually pays the claims. So they evaluate it based on the evidence presented by the person who claims the damage.
Well,
As he said.
well, and I'm not sure that they will be paying all of the claims, because part of it relates to, this is not an automatic responsibility. If we have a program, again, I don't, if this is really, if Mr. Lemire is saying that this is really up to the insurance company, that's fine. I'm not concerned about that. But in terms of there being a actual village continuing obligation, we do have the Tort Immunity Act to utilize. And if we have made a reasonable effort to keep the roads repaired, and it is basically an act of God that causes this problem, I'm not sure that our insurance company will in fact take the position that they will make everyone whole. So I just want to, maybe we ought to have a little discussion with the insurance company, but I don't think most municipalities are taking the position that they're responsible for damage to everybody's vehicle. So I would be a little cautious in terms of saying that it was a University Park responsibility.
Very good point, thank you.
Okay, any others?
I got a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And as far as payroll tax dollars and workers' comp insurance, you were saying about, you were talking about that you were speaking with the insurance companies and things like that. Is that some type of savings that you're trying to, get across for the village? Or are we just trying to change the insurance company, that we're working with? Well, I mean, what are you actually working at? What is that cost savings?
The cost savings is that the more you educate people on being safe at work, the less claims you have. So when we go over our claims and show how people are being hurt, those claims are coming in, we can talk to our directors and make sure that they're following proper protocol as far as training staff, as far as reporting incidents, as far as making sure that the environment is safe, as far as we get our staff to a lot of trainings that are sponsored by the insurance company. And it's mostly changing the mindset that reduces the amount of claims and changes the culture that reduces the cost.
All right, because I know earlier you came in, you did change, we went to the TIP agency. You guys chose to do that because we were paying so much. And now we're gonna go back and now we see the problem, we're gonna fix it.
Talking two separate things.
No, I'm asking you a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You mean like the unemployment? That's correct. I'm sorry.
Not a problem. Thank you. All right, that's it. Any other questions, concerns?
Mayor's report.
We had a meeting posted at SSA at Governor State. There was a resource set for information and updates will be posted, and they're looking at 4-year additional plans. I made a request that the IDOT group come to University Park and make that clear to our residents and they will agree to come and set up a meeting about the new South Suburban Airport. On January 15th, attending with the South Suburban mayors. Mrs. Hart from IDES states that she will come and make regular announcements for jobs for us. Senator Hudson said that she's going to inquire. We asked about some energy bills and they were looking into that. We don't know about MLK. On January 24th, a quarterly economic meeting held in South Village. The guest speaker there was Senator Durbin and Congresswoman Robin Kelly. And he spoke into results. Also, we met with Executive Kirkland Goth, and we asked her, including you and I, some questions considering the fundings for a portion of our Cook County road funding. And she agreed to look into it possibly, but not to make sure or any commitments to fundings because of the percentage of Cook County that we're in. Meeting with South Suburban mayors and submitted paperwork also on receiving support and fundings. We have made an agreement with Obamacare for someone to come up here to 90 Center on Saturdays at 9 o'clock until noon for anyone that's still interested in that. Also, South Suburban mayor and managers, looking at their chart as far as fundings, there in University Park, they put us on a time schedule with $100,000 in University Park Cicero reconstruction, well, and resurfacing. And that's to be done, they're looking at possibly May, exactly, because the other villages are getting theirs as well. So we're on the letting, we know we have a letting coming up as well. So also a part of my report, I asked Aqua because the email that we received from the lady on Sullivan Lane, because we do not regulate them and we are asking them to do things for us, I asked them to come and address that issue along with the billings that many of the residents have complained about. So who can better explain but Aqua, the company? So if you'd like to, Ms. Cameron, at this time, speak. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor, trustees. Thanks for having me here tonight.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Sure. In regards to the complaint that you guys received, hopefully you can hear me, and that is Sullivan Street. Aqua is very well aware of the problems we've had with Sullivan Street, and we've talked about our CLIPS program. So CLIPS is now approved in University Park. So Sullivan Street is on our program to replace this year. Hopefully, we will start that project in June of this year. It's out to the engineering firms right now. So for the water side, with the CLIPS program, we're going to spend $760,000 this year, and a lot of that is going towards Sullivan Street. The other project we're looking at is Farmview Road, where we've also had some issues with main breaks. It's a smaller, undersized main, so we want to get those replaced. Both of those projects, they're going to help with water quality, they're going to help improve the pressure, so they're going to help with fire flows, and we're going to obviously increase the reliability of our system. And so the CLIP surcharge that you're now seeing on your bill is 2.45%. And that helps us. The CLIP surcharge allows us to invest in infrastructure in the community without having a rate case. So it allows us to earn a rate of return on what we're investing instead of filing that rate case. So hopefully we can go longer without doing a formal rate case with the ICC. And then on the sewer side of things, we are investing $1 million, and there's several projects. You guys have the packet in front of you explaining the projects we want to do on the sewer side. And a lot of that is going to be lining the sewer systems. If they're not lineable, if the sewers collapse possibly or is not repairable, we will replace that section.
Would you give me
Sorry, at this time, the question proposed construction cost $760,000. That's totally at your cost?
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the proposal, the second page, in case you're here.
Is that for the water side, the $760,000?
Yes.
That's what we're going to invest. We do recoup that cost, and that's the surcharge that's on the bill, the 2.45%.
Right, and the $1 million we see here, that's to be completed in the summer 2014, and that too is your cost?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you
Now,
anticipate?
I'm sorry. That's okay. So the cost that I'm concerned about, that the residents are concerned about, that occurred because of the OIC, you're saying, or why did ICC? Why did that happen? I mean, we weren't where we were.
Why is the quips charge on the
I know
bill?
the quips is there, but that was sort of a surprise to the employees, the regular people here, I mean, residents. So we'd like to know.
A notice went out. There was a
Yeah.
notice in the paper and a notice in the bill about the quips surcharge.
Okay, I
And
need
these-
you to explain that.
Okay. Well, the notice did go out, and I think Craig was here to talk about it also. But again, the quips surcharge allows us to invest in the system, in our water and sewer side, and it allows us to earn a return on the capital cost that's related to that investment that we're making in the system. And in order to get that on the bill, we have to file a formal case with the ICC. That was filed, that was approved, and all the necessary paperwork was turned in.
And we're on the website. Trustee Hubbard?
Now, I'm kind of unfamiliar with the QUIPS program. Would you just inform me and some of the community, some of the residents as well? Can you just give me a little information on the QUIPS program?
Okay, so what the QUIPS does, again, so that's going to allow us to replace infrastructure. And the guidelines for what we're replacing, it has to be already infrastructure that's in place. We can't add anything to serve additional customers, so we either have to upgrade what we have in place or replace it. So in the packet you have in front of you, it talks about some of the projects that are eligible. So we can replace fire hydrants that need to be replaced. We can replace meters. We can replace sewer lines. We can replace water mains.
Okay, so to make the long story short, you front up the money and then you recoup it on the bill for the taxpayers, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Are you finished?
Yeah, I am.
Trustee, I'm sorry, Trustee Brown, Larry Brown, and then Oscar.
Yeah, Mrs. Coon, how you doing there?
Hi, good.
I noticed that the sewer system, that it was relined on Abbott. Some years, I don't think it's been 10 years. How long is the relining? How long
On
is it
Abbott,
take?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with when that was done.
Yeah,
I would have to go back.
actually, it
I
was,
know that's on our program.
yeah, it was
for this
actually
year.
in front of where I live.
Okay.
And I was just wondering how long, because I was wondering what the guys were doing, and they said they were relining the sewer system along, I guess it was on the south side of the street. And my question is, would you happen to know how long will that last if they reline the existing system?
That, I don't have a date, I don't have a lifespan of lining the sewer. I'm sorry, I don't know that off the top of my head. It should last many years if it's relined.
Because I'm understanding that what the guy did tell me, it was the same material that is made of PVC pipe. It's a hardened plastic.
Right, it's extremely hard.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Trustee Larry Brown. Oscar Brown, sorry. Oscar Brown.
Oh,
Oscar, okay. I had a question about your quick surcharge. Is that only for the area that you're serving, or do you spread it out to all your service areas for the investment?
It applies to each area. So University Park surcharge, you only see that the 2.45 in University Park. Kankakee has a different surcharge. Kankakee's is at 5%. So it just depends upon the investment. It's specific to each area that's served.
now I have a question. What does a senior citizen do that has a fixed income when they continue to get more additional costs from the water company?
We don't have any sort of program that would, I guess, reduce the cost, if that's what you're asking. We can put people on payment plans. That's one thing that we do offer.
You know, I understand that there's a great amount of money that's going to be put into our community on improving infrastructure. And it just bothers me, seriously, that it's continuously being put on the burden of our taxpayers. I mean, most taxpayers that I speak with don't like aqua water, but we have no choice. And it seems like you guys just have a continuous monopoly on the community. And once you guys go through the process and get approved by the ICC, we're again victims, and everybody can afford a surcharge continuously, a water bill every month, a sewage charge that's higher than the actual usage bill. So we have to get some kind of resolve. I mean, heck, I might be a person that might be able to adapt and adjust to a couple extra dollars, but everybody can't do that, and you put people in bad situations, and it's just not a good situation for the community as we try to go after economic development and we try to do all these other things. What do we do? What do we tell our residents? I mean, we have no, it seems like we have no other options or no other choices.
That's why we're regulated by the ICC. So in a sense, yes, you can say we do have a monopoly, but when we go in for rates, we have to absolutely prove that the rates where we are requesting are reasonable and that we've actually done that investment. I'm sorry, what's that?
Justification for the increase, basically.
Right, and everybody has the ability to participate in a rate case. When the rate cases are filed with the ICC, we have to do notification. Every person, every community has the opportunity to participate in those rate cases.
But we do have like CEDAR programs and that, and maybe the seniors can inquire about that, see if there's some adjustment decreases that they can get. I'm not sure, but yeah, we are to the mercy of your company. But I mean, that's everywhere, everybody. So if there's anything or an adoption that we can get on, that would be great for our people. But just like there's an adjustment energy program for lights and gas.
But everybody's going to qualify.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying if there's something they're eligible for, they have to see if they're eligible for it. But okay, thanks. I'm sorry. Trustee Griffin?
Ms. Cal, could you just share with us a little bit about the communication related to a water main break? You were explaining some of that to us just before the board meeting.
Right.
About if a break occurs, because it's very similar to what Comcast does, what Commonwealth Edison does as well.
Okay, what we have in place and what we do across all of our different towns is if there's a main break. So a main break happens. Normally, we do not notify the residents, but what we do for every case is we put out communication to our call center, because that's who's going to take all those phone calls. So that's notified, so all the call center representatives have access to what's going on. So normally, a customer will call in if they have low pressure, they don't have water, you know, whatever the issue may be. So that can be communicated to them immediately once they call in. Now, we do have a program in place, which is Aqua Notify, and that came into effect in, I think it was 2012. So that was put into place mainly to notify people of situations that might be hazardous. So if we don't want you to drink the water, if there's a water quality issue, that was the main purpose of Aqua Notify. Now, we can use that program to notify our customers if there's a main break in the area. However, the situation that happened on Sullivan happened at 4 a.m. We will not send out notifications at 4 a.m. That's our personal choice that we make to do. We don't want to call people at 4 a.m. because I probably have a lot more complaints if I'm making phone calls at 4 in the morning. So it's each manager's decision as to how they want to put out that notification if they choose to use it. Normally, for a situation where we think we can fix that break in a couple hours, we won't do that Aqua Notify campaign because it takes time to put that together. Then you got to send out the calls, and then you got to send them out again saying everything's fixed. But we are working. Cindy Munger's our manager for University Park. I have talked to her about using that more to notify the residents, which we can absolutely do.
One follow-up question, because, you know, we had a water main break in my subdivision also here just recently. And my only concern was that whether or not we needed to boil the water or run the water, or what needed to be done. Is there some...
That would have been an Aqua Notify campaign, absolutely. So if there's a situation where we need you to boil water, that's going to go out in a massive phone call campaign, which is the Aqua Notify or Swift Reach, people also call it.
Okay, so if there's no need for a boiling of the water, that kind of thing, there won't be any...
Correct.
Notice, no.
And then with Aqua Notify, one more thing on that, we also need people to register online for that program. Their information has to be updated. Now, we'll call any phone number we have, but if for some reason an error was made entering your phone number or it's an obsolete phone number, we are not going to be able to get a hold of you. So you can update all your information and make sure you're registered. You can even get email notifications, you can get a phone call, or you can get a text message, or all three if you choose. But you have to register.
They go online to do that?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes, two questions. I'm also concerned, as Trustee Roulette said, is there any way your company can look into the fact of giving a reduced rates to seniors?
Right now, no, we don't, because our rates are regulated by the ICC. So anything that's approved by the ICC, we have to follow. We cannot adjust those rates.
And two, how long is this quick surcharge going to last?
Until we would file the next rate case, and then all the investment that we made in QUIPs is rolled into our rate base. So then you would see that disappear.
So when you were here last year and you hit us with a nice increase, that wasn't enough, so you come back with the 2.5?
2.45.
Yeah, 2.45. And so you're saying this is going to last until you decide to file for another?
Right, that surcharge would last until the next rate case, when we would choose to file that. And hopefully the surcharge would allow us to delay that rate case.
But I assume you could petition to increase this up to the 5% maximum?
Correct.
So if you had other,
Well, it's every year we have to file with the ICC, like a reconciliation. So if we over-earn, we have to give a refund. We have to do exactly what we said we were going to do with the ICC
I
filing.
understand, but if you had other projects that you needed to do over the next few years and you weren't ready to go for a rate increase, you could petition for this to go up to 5%.
Right, the maximum that we could ever get on the quick surcharge would be 5%.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. We are available for questions. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Lanier.
Just very briefly, because earlier the trustee asked me to write you a letter, asking you to notify residents when there's a water main break and how long would be the water main break would be out in what areas. Is that something that you guys can? That's something you guys can do. I mean, am I just writing this letter and you're gonna write back to say to go to Aqua Notify or something?
I'm aware of the situation, so like I said, I'm working with Cindy to make sure we can do those Aqua Notify campaigns if it makes sense to do it. Now, whether or not we can estimate how long the outage might be if we have a main break, that's always a real tough call until you dig down and see what you're facing when you have a water main break. So given an estimated time is always a tough situation. Sometimes it can be fixed in like an hour. Sometimes it might take 6 hours or maybe longer.
But when they last say over an hour or so, you would notify the residents that there's a water main break in the area?
Right, I'm going to work with Cindy and try and make sure whatever main breaks we have, if we can get that campaign out, we might as well get the campaign out. I don't want the residents being angry. I'm not happy when I see those emails come through. That stresses me out, so I would rather not receive those and resolve the situation if I can.
Do you have a timetable that we can look forward to?
For the Aqua Notify,
Yes.
I've actually already spoke to Cindy. We need to get her, to do these campaigns, long story short, you have to develop a map. So we need to get her training on how to develop the map. So I can do a Notify campaign for the entire city of University Park, like at the snap of a finger. But that's a lot of detail you don't really know.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
One other thing with our website, we do have a Water Smart app now. So if you log on to our website, it'll give you tips on how to conserve water, different things you can do. It also gives information on how the water is treated, which for your schools, it's great information for the kids. It tells you how surface water is treated, it tells you how groundwater is treated, and it tells you how the wastewater is treated. And again, tips on how to conserve water.
Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm actually going to leave, so if anybody has any questions, please ask them now, or if anybody out here has questions.
Yes, could you keep them so we don't have to come later? Go ahead. Yeah, I'm not going to keep it limited.
Water main broke in front of my house, and that's the second, third time it's broke. I
On
called-
Sullivan?
On Sullivan.
Sullivan was 4. We got the call at 4.
No, it was 7 p.m. Because I know.
Oh, okay, I didn't see a call come in till,
It took 12 hours to get out there.
okay.
So-
Well, they probably throttled it down, is what they do. Because if we don't have to address it and we can keep pressure in the system, we'll let it run until we can address it.
Yeah, but we had, and the water was coming out of the ground from the highway, we didn't have the water, and the people next door in the adjacent houses didn't have the water. So it took it 12 hours. Because when we called, they said they had to assemble a crew to come out there, and they never called us back. Because it's 8 o'clock I went to work, and I see that one truck come across. So it took them about 12, 13 hours to get here, maybe more. Okay, because I know it was about 10 o'clock when I called my wife and said the water was on.
Okay.
Thank you. Make sure to get on the website.
My name is Patty Green, and who can hear me? My name is Patty Green, and I'm very dissatisfied with Aqua Water Services. I would like to see you all totally replaced. I passed Trustee Payton's street, and the way you all repaired the street is ridiculous.
Well, the
That doesn't
repair's not
happen-
done.
Excuse me, that doesn't happen in other cities. I've seen that. That's very tacky, it's just, it makes our village look like Robbins or Fort Heights or something.
Please don't think it's done, because you can't do.
Please don't disrupt me. I didn't disrupt you.
I'm sorry.
Respect me. I'm very dissatisfied with your water. I have to buy water, and people get a water bill. We shouldn't have to buy water. Your water, it smells. It's terrible on the clothes. It makes your white clothes look like pea stains all over. It's terrible. And I don't see any Afro-Americans working for your company either.
We do.
Okay, thank you. One more question and we're on with the meeting.
I agree with Ms. Gwen. My husband and I have lived in University Park since '90s. I cannot buy any like clothing because to wash my clothes, they come out dingy. My husband gets an iron every year for Christmas because if we use your water, I have to continue to buy coffee makers anytime I use any of that water. And then the price, the smell of the water, the taste of the water. I'd like to know, why can't we get better water from Aqua? I really don't understand. Can't you guys tap into Chicago water or do whatever you can do? Because you're making a mint off of us here in University Park, and we've never been satisfied with the water here, and it doesn't seem like you guys are that interested. You keep going up on the rate, you're not that interested. It appears that you're not that interested in giving us quality water that we can use, wash, bathe. I have to give my own animal bottled water because I'm afraid it's going to occur a debt deal, a debt deal. So I just wondered, why can't you all give us good water? And also, what other villages do you service with Aqua water? I heard you say Kankakee and University Park.
Right, we have, so the areas I'm in charge of are Kankakee County, so we have Kankakee, Bradley, Bourbonnais, Grant Park, Aroma Park, the village of Sun River Terrace, and then Mantino's also included with them. We serve University Park, there's Willowbrook Estate Subdivision, we have Dyer, Indiana, which is also included with Willowbrook. And then there's several communities in our northern division. I don't know all the names of those towns, but I can definitely email the mayor. And if she wants to, if you want that information, I can give you the rates for all those areas. I can provide whatever information you're looking for.
Do you get similar complaints from these other villages? Are they thrilled over your service with the water, the stench of it, and the way you treat your clothes?
Well, in regards to the water quality, we are very concerned about University Park. We do have a certificate in with the ICC. We are trying to bring Kankakee water to University Park right now. But that's going to take time. You guys have complained for years and years, and the most cost-effective way is to get Kankakee water out here. So that would be a pipeline which would go from Mantino to University Park.
Speaking of ICC, Trustee Rickman asked about seniors getting a discount. You mean ICC would disapprove of Aqua giving seniors a discount?
The rates are approved by the ICC. We cannot deviate from the rates that are approved. We can't offer discounts to certain people and not to others. That's not allowed.
Okay, thank you. Committee and commission reports?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Travis, did you have anything you wanted to report on the Human Service Special Events Committee? No progress. We haven't had a meeting since the last board meeting. Sandra Hurd's not here. I just want to thank the village manager and Mr. Jones. We had a great finance committee meeting. I had a chance to discuss a lot of issues, and particularly the management letter for the audit. The next finance committee meeting will be March the 19th. March the 19th, again, that's the third Wednesday of the month. And the finance committee is interested in getting together with the board to talk about the budget. The Educational Advisory Committee will be meeting the second Monday in March, which is March the 10th. March the 10th at the golf course at 7 o'clock from 7 to 8:30. That's all.
Any other?
I do have,
Sir?
and you know, Mayor, forgive me, I must have, I think I may have let the reports collected in a point official slip by me, because I know it went from the approval of minutes to the manager's report. And maybe that's my fault, but blame that on Department of Aging. I'd spoken with Bob Howard 3 weeks ago, and again recently. They're looking for an area, a place to have the municipal court.
Right.
The last time we lost out to Peatone, and it caused a great inconvenience for individuals in this area and the surrounding areas. So right now, the county executive, Larry Walsh, they're looking for another area, and he had suggested that they were looking at 90 Town Center, using the area here. I don't know how many times during the week, probably 2 or 3 times during the week, to have traffic court. So, I did have a call into Mr. Walsh. I wasn't able to get a hold of him today, and I believe I was supposed to speak with the speaker of the county board also. So, I do have those telephone numbers, and I know I spoke with Mr. Lanier, about it briefly, and I'm still doing a follow-up. But they haven't made a decision yet, and like I said, they stated that we have the available parking, plus the area is centrally located, and it would be convenient for those individuals who have to go to court to come here rather than go to Peatone. Then you have individuals sometimes not able to make it that far versus going to Joliet.
Well, to let you know, update you, you were successful. They met with me, and I had Attorney Diamond on the phone as well, and they met with us 2 Fridays ago, and they came and they observed the facility. They said that this area, they could knock this problem off over here as far as a place for the judge to exchange clothing. The only thing right now they're concerned about is our drop. It's not wireless, but we can. We talked to our IT department. We can accommodate them, and they looked at it and talked to the attorney, and they said that they are a possibility. It's a good site, and they'll update us. So they have done all their homework. It's just now part of approval. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any others? Reports of other officers.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees and residents. Just wanted to update the board on the, we met with Labor Ready a couple weeks ago, and after talking to the finance director, Mr. Lanier, that's when they made the decision to go back to our original hiring process. But one of the things that we made a decision to do, I got a chance to meet with fact finders. Special thanks to Ms. D and Trustee Rudez for referring us to this company. What Fact Finders is a company that does the background checks for criminal, sexual assault, and drug charges. So going through this company will allow us to be able to have the documentation that we need to be able to hire people for these seasonal positions. The only thing that they're not able to do is do anybody under 18. But talking back and forth with the police chief, we're going to be looking at some various ways of being able to do the background checks for them. So this summer we can begin to do our hiring and be successful in having the right people in place. Just want to let everybody know that a couple weeks ago, our 20-year-old python, Bonnie, passed away. Bonnie was about 6 feet long. If anybody has, especially people that have been around the barn, Bonnie would crawl all up on the wall. A lot of the staff would put her around her neck, and the kids just loved her. So we're kind of sad because we lost one of our family members at the barn, but we are now in the process of looking for a new family member for the barn. So if anybody knows anybody that wants to do some trading off, we have some couple animals we can switch out, but we want to be able to have that, because that is an attraction. Because if you think about it, you come here to University Park, you don't have to go to Lincoln Park Zoo. We have everything that besides a monkey or a lion or a bear. But we have an alligator, llamas, and everything else. Ladies, you're more than welcome to come by. So if you need our phone number, it is 708-534-6456. We will be opening up the first week in in April. Thank you.
To let you know too, also for summer jobs, the Southburg Black Mirrors, they're not sure if they're going to get any employees again. We had like 200 applicants last time that you interviewed, and the rest of the departments interviewed those guys. So we're looking to ask for the fundings again from our governor, because last time it was disapproved, but Will Davis, our state rep, gave $600,000 to divide among the villages. So hopefully, if that comes about, I'll do the same thing as last year. You guys interview and hire, and there's no cost to the village.
Thank you, Mayor, and you're right, because the Department of the state had submitted some information to all the Illinois Park and Recreation Associations, so that application should be ready by April 1st. So hopefully it comes back and we get it immediately, because the young people are definitely ready to come back to work.
And that age was 15 to 24.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Great job, Mrs. Childers and Manager.
Thank you.
Any others?
Yes, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Board.
Good evening.
Just wanted to report, I did talk to Speaker of the Board, Herb Brooks, about the situation coming out here, putting court out here. There was some additional concerns for safety and security, additional traffic out here, a lot more traffic and things of that sort that would involve the police department. He is on board with that. He said he would be pushing it, but I did appreciate him talking to us about that, since it did involve a lot of different stats that involve the police department. So I just want to report that I spoke to the Speaker, he is on board with that.
Any others? Attorney report.
No report.
General public. We usually do this in a 30-minute interval. So with that said, please respect the hour of the day, of the evening rather, and you have 3 minutes to speak. So come up with your, I'll call for the people to sign in. This time goes Ms. Rose Nevels. Okay. Yolanda Westbrook? Yes. You want to come up? Oh, I just, Dr. Lynn?
Good afternoon, Board and residents of University Park.
Good evening.
I have been a resident of University Park for less than a year. And I also teach at Governor State University. And thank you, Mayor, for supporting us. We love you there so much. I am here because I am over a lot of clubs there, and we want to get involved in civic engagement. We are here to offer our support in activities that University Park is doing. Since I've been living here, I don't have a lot of gripes because I adjust to the environment. I know that everything's not going to always be perfect wherever you go. I've lived in Park Forest, I've lived in Chicago Heights, I've lived in Chicago, and you always have to make some adjustments to different things. If the water is not getting my clothes white, I put bleach in them. You understand? Something simple as that. And so I make the adjustments that I have to make to live here, and I do enjoy being here. But I want to make sure that we are fighting for the same cause, to make University Park better. And I'm offering, and some of my members of some of my clubs are here, raise your hand. And so I'm over a couple of honor societies where we have more than 40 residents, 40 students in each one, and these are adults. And we want to do civic engagement and community involvement. So we are here. I'm going to get on the educational board with Peyton, and we're here to offer our support for University Park and for the mayor, because we believe in her and we love her at Governor State. So we just want to make sure that we're all on the same accord. I'm not here to fight you. I'm here to work with you. And I'm here to bring what I can bring from Governor State and as a resident of University Park to help make our community a lot better. My complaints are so small and so tiny. I pay big bills too, but I adjust. And I make the adjustments that I have to make to meet my needs. So I just want to let you know that we are here. I will make it as many of these meetings that I can. When I'm not teaching, I will be here. And I will be supportive of this board as long as this board is working in the same accord and we can do some civic engagement with you, not against you. Amen.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Board, Trustees, staff, residents, people that are here. I'm just calling and letting everyone know that there will be a workshop this weekend on Saturday, which will be held on March 1st at the 90 Town Center from 10 to 12. And I'm asking everyone to come out to help the Plan Commission, the Steering Committee, and the consultant TESCA to help develop the Village Comprehensive Plan. The last time this was done was 2007. We need to upgrade it, we need to expand it, we need to address all the issues that the village has and talk about our future. So if you all would not mind, please come out March 1st from 10 to 12. Thank you very much. You all have a blessed week.
Thank you. Mr. Ross, Keith Ross.
Good evening, Board and Mayor.
Good evening.
Nice to see you today. There have been things I've talked about in the last few months that I've been coming to the meetings and stuff. One of the things I wanted to address is affordability. And not that Attorney Diamond is not the best. I know you're the best. But we still have affordability with the expenses that we are incurring from the attorney fees. And every time I look at the budget, when we go to our finance committee meetings, I see this overwhelming expense from the attorney's office. The next thing is I want to deal with is credibility issues. When trustees go for seminars, and we talked about that before, I mentioned that before, make sure that there's only 2 people, I think maybe only 2 people should go to lower the expenses and And maybe not stay for 7 days, maybe stay for, till the classes are over and then leave, come back, or either stay at your own expense. But it's a difficult, it's a tax expense incurred by our taxpayers. Now, the other issue was accountability. And this is my major issue. We talked about, a few people from the Concerned Citizens Committee have mentioned every single month about the GED program. And the way it's approached is that these people are anti-education. They're not anti-education at all. In fact, one of our members mentioned, asked some questions recently, asked some basic questions as to, one, how many people were in the class? Two, what's the success rate? What's wrong with asking that question? But she was kind of treated that night like she was anti-education. What she was anti-inaccountability, anti-unable to explain where the money went, anti-not being progressive with our students. Because if we're not accountable for these students, we can't keep track of what's happening and the progress they're making. What's the sense of having a program? Doesn't make any sense. The other issue is, well, Mr. Jones and Mr. Lanier, we met at the Finance Committee, and I am so happy that we got a chance to sit down with Mr. Lanier. Absolutely ecstatic, as he was educational and very, very, it was just a good meeting. I mean, it was a good educational meeting. Now, as far as the attorney goes, I know, Mr. Brown, you're going to complain to me and say, well, he's a great lawyer. I know that already. But the reality is, we can't afford champagne when we're on that Coca-Cola budget. We just don't have it. And every time I look at the budget, I see these things. And there are monies that can go other places. And not that he's not good. Let's negotiate a contract that the mayor's been asking for over a year now. And that's mine.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Senator Warren?
Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Board of Trustees, officials, and residents. I have some information here for you today from Prairie State regarding the GED program. Coincidentally, my sorority meets over in that wing where they have the adult education program and the literacy programs. And there's one classroom there that has about 15 computers on the desk. And it would be great if the folks who are attending the GED, prospective new GED class, could go over and look at some of the resources at Prairie State. This is what I found out about our program here. 18 people were enrolled in the class at 90 Town Center that began in September and ended in December. 6 people who were enrolled in the class, are not residents of University Park. The age range is 20 to 59 years. The cost of providing the class was $6,000 from September 24th, 13 to 11/26/13. A cost worksheet shows total cost $11,996.33. The supplies cost over $6,000, including pencils and notepads for $52.50. In November, the program was extended 6 additional weeks at a cost of $4,212. And I want to know why we had the extension. A certificate of participation is issued at the conclusion of the class. This is not a credential, according to PSC. No certificates, however, were issued at the conclusion of the last class because the village has not paid the $6,000 balance. The college was also asked about information on the participants regarding their last year that they attended school, and this information was not provided. So the questions that I have remaining is why are we continuing to provide a GED class here at this expense? It's fiscally irresponsible? Why are we paying for people who do not live in University Park? How many classes will it take to produce a person with a GED? Does anyone else use the supplies that we paid for? And Liz Williams stated that the class was sabotaged and never did give an explanation for that. And I just wonder if this is supposed to be some kind of campaign thing, providing GED classes and paying money when folks can go to other sites and receive a GED. We won't have to pay for it. So the board has 4 yes votes for the continuation of the program. Does that make it right? Does that make it fiscally responsible? Does the board understand that it is a taxpayer citizen's right to ask questions and demand accountability? Thank you.
Number one is Trustee Williams. Trustee Williams.
Go ahead.
First, Ms. Warren, thank you for providing that information. I did attend one of the last Concerned Citizens Committee meeting, and I did ask about specific objections to the program. I believe, ma'am, a lot of your questions were answered, so I won't have to go and find the information for you. The one thing I do believe that was left out of that, I believe it was a paid instructor, although that could be implied from the information that she just provided. As far as is it worth the expense? I had the pleasure of receiving the draft plan of our comprehensive plan. According to the numbers, 3.3% of the residents of University Park do not have a high school diploma. When you get the draft plan, when you come out March 1st, they'll have full copies. That's according to the numbers that I just received. I think we have a responsibility to help out that 3.3%. I don't have my calculator with me right now, but I can tell you from 7,129, you take 3% of that, that is the number of people we help with the GED program, or we could potentially help. The issue is bigger when we come to the state. The number of people in the state is 7.3% of the population without GED without a high school diploma, according to the numbers provided in our draft comprehensive plan. Should we help people who do not live in University Park attend a GED program? First, if a person is so interested in obtaining a GED and they manage to make it to University Park to get that GED, we should help them, because I can guarantee you this, I don't have the statistics on this one, but every crime that's committed in University Park is not committed by University Park residents. If you want to help a person not commit a crime, give them something to learn about. I don't mind. It's the devil's workshop. Thank you very much, Trustee.
Terrible thing to waste.
And it's a terrible thing to waste. So yes, I will continue to support the GED program because I support education. Now I'm not going to say, although some have got up here and said that, hey, look, this is a total waste of money. And on the other hand, you say we're not anti-education. I have to say those two statements are inconsistent. Also, after attending the CCC meeting, valid questions. What's the pass-fail rate? How many people attended from University Park? Who did it? Who was the instructor? Those are valid questions, and I'm glad Ms. Warren provided the answer, so I don't have to go and find out and do that. But the fact of the matter is, we're going to educate people. And if a person wants to make it to University Park to take the GED class, we'll provide it for them. Because I believe if there's a person out there without an education, without options, they're going to come and visit this community for another reason that we don't want. We're going to give them the right reason to come visit. And if it's to come get a GED, they can come get a GED. Anybody, because it's a big problem.
I would also like to address Mrs. Warren's concerns and questions Now, since since all of University Park and Prairie State is a part of our tax bill, I would think that maybe you guys would take into consideration on asking Prairie State, why do we have to pay for the course when we're paying for it in our taxes, and what are we getting back for that? I would think that would be the question that you would ask OT. Because I noticed there are several satellite offices located within their district, in their taxing district. So my question to you is, have you approached them and asked why don't they fund the program themselves?
Well, that's not my job. Whoever initiated
Oh,
the program here and paid for it, that was their job to do that research.
Okay. Okay, sorry, we're not.
Millions of dollars in federal funds to go to
Ms. Moore, we're
Thursday
gonna keep it
for
up here.
adult education.
Ms. Trustee Williams, Trustee Williams.
Oh, okay, this is the answer that I have to Ms. Warren. Ms. Warren, it will not be all the time that University Park will be paying for these classes. Just like Trustee Rudin said, when he got to talk before me, we are hoping that Perry State pay for these classes because we pay taxes, just like you said, and we should be able to get them to pay for our TCE classes. And they will, but their grant had ran out, and these classes had to start. So when they get the grant back, they will be paying for these classes. That's one thing. You said there are people who don't live in University Park, but they live in the district of Perry State. And that's why they're there. And everybody, you said that I had told you about the sabotage. Yes, the classes was sabotaged. The teachers, the instructors themselves came back to the students and told the students that the 4 trustees up here said that we weren't going to pay for no more classes and not to come take a test. That's what they said, okay? The teachers, the instructors, okay? So these things are under investigation at this time, okay? So that's the whole thing of the GED. And I will continue to fight for the people who want to take that GED class. I'm here to do
I just wanted to say, Mr. Rouse made a statement that I'm against Ms. Warren, or when not, oh, okay, when the way you phrase it, I'm not against anybody. I'm not against anybody. As I said at the last meeting, without, I have to bring it up again, Medgar Evers died for education. He was killed because they couldn't go to school in his driveway. Therefore, for whatever reason that they didn't go to school, for whatever reason that they didn't finish, they decided to go back. I'm for them going back.
Yeah, but that wasn't my issue. That wasn't my issue.
My
issue was,
Say this and let me finish.
my issue was this. My issue was basically accountability to find out who was doing what where. Now,
It was just-
okay,
you see,
and Mr. Brown said about not having any options. There are options. Government State has a program that helps people with GEDs, get their GEDs. Prairie State has one that does it too. The high schools have something that does it too. There are, in their online services.
Excuse me.
So
Let me
wait a minute,
finish.
what you asked me was anti. I'm not anti-education, but when we ask you questions 3 months in a row, you can't give me a specific answer. You can't just say a specific answer, then that's the accountability issue. It's not the education.
Okay, well,
I have being
all right, you there right now. My answer on that, a lady, another resident called. She went to a class at the golf course. I mean at the library, a computer class. From the time they got in to the time they left out, they gave them information too to go online. The people ask questions from the time they got there to the time they left. In other words, they needed that instructor. So online ain't gonna work. That's why we had the class here, we had the instructor here. Online don't work for everybody, sir. If they did, no, I'm talking.
Don't say, no debate, please. No.
They said, no, you through, sir. You through, sir. Please. The lady said they needed the instructors because the people had questions. All the, even with the overhead projector, with instructor, what is it? She had to go from each, it was about 5 of them, had to go. That's what they need here for. They need the instructor here. Online don't work for everybody. That's why they need the in-class instruction. That's what we did for. And I'm not going to vote against helping anybody to get a GED. That opens the door for everything. If you don't have an education, you don't have anything.
Okay, trustee, Mr. Payton, no, please, sir, please. Mr. Payton?
Yeah, I would just like to follow up on a couple of statements that were made. One is, and I think it's, Mr. Rouse said it appropriately, we're not anti-education. We're anti-waste. We're anti-wasting the resources of the people in University Park who pay a very high tax rate.
Please, order, please.
Yeah, thank you, trustee. Give me the same respect that you requested of Mr. Rouse.
Sir.
I'll be happy to address that. But let me first address this.
Order, please, so he can speak.
Let me first address this GED program. You know, I served on the school board for 8 years, 6 of it as president. I am the trustee liaison and trying to re-stimulate the Educational Advisory Committee. So I'm all about education. What I am about also is wasting the money for the people of University Park. Now, it's a worthwhile thing for us to help people get a GED, but not by paying for it again. We pay for Prairie State College, we pay for Governor State University, we pay for the library, we pay for the school district. All of them offer GED programs. And essentially what we're now doing is taking another $20,000 and plunking it down and are now paying for a GED program because somebody needs some extra help. I think that's not appropriate. You know, if a person is interested in getting a GED program, they can go to, if they can get here to the 90 Town Center, they can stop over at the school district, they can stop right up here at the street at Governor State University, they can go down to the library, or they can catch a bus or whatever means of transportation they've been using to get here to also get to Prairie State College. Trustee Oscar Brown Jr. made a comment about teaching folks to fish so you can feed it for a lifetime. Absolutely. But you know something? You got to pick up the pole in order to fish. You got to demonstrate some initiative if you want to get ahead in life, and education will provide you with that. And you do that by demonstrating some initiative, not riding on the backs of the poor taxpayers here. Now, Trustee Griffin wants to bag on the fact that the Children's Health Center is not completed. And the reason it's not completed is because we don't have any money. We ran out of money. So the $20,000 that we could have used, that we spent on a GED program, we could have used to finish the Kids Health Club. We can't even get some of our bills paid at this point. We're holding them back for cash flow reasons. Okay? So please, you know, let's put everything in perspective. I'm not opposed to education. I'm opposed to wasting the resources of the village.
It seems like a witch hunt to me.
Okay, all right, hope we're finished with that now. Robert Travis, please.
Hello, Mayor, Board of Trustees, citizens.
Sir.
We get 30 minutes, right?
No. It just went everywhere.
I know it. We get 3 minutes, you guys get 30 minutes,
No,
right?
it went back and forth.
Okay, okay. It's just-
Thank
Your
you.
comments should be tracked.
You got 2 minutes to get it already.
I got a couple of complaints. First complaint is that Public Works dumped a lot of snow on my driveway and my adjacent neighbor's driveway. We couldn't get out. Also, there were other neighbors in the neighborhood that snow was dumped on their driveways. Okay, that they were upset, I was too, the drivers. Very difficult. Another question I'd like to ask is that according to the GED program, did you ask Prairie State and Governor State to set up an extension in University Park where they can control it and we can support them? That's one of the things you should have done. It'll be their GED program in University Park.
Are you asking now or you telling?
No, I'm asking.
Both of them.
I'm asking. I don't ask the question. Another thing is that on the 2009 audits at the finance meeting that Mr. Lafayette did very well, there were 8 items that were missing. Investment policy, capital assist policies, fund balance policies, policies and procedures, basic account reconciliation, segregation of duties, and can you hear me? Okay. There was 8 items missing. There was missing. That was not done on the 2009 audits. Investment policies, capital assist policies, fund balance policies, policies and procedures, bank and bank account reconciliation, separation of duties. Now, this was not done in 2009. Okay. Now, Manager Lafayette says that we're going to work on it in 2014. So a lot of those items will fall off. But prior to that, 2010, 2011, 2012, none of this was done. Okay. Do we have any checks and balances to make sure that this is not done again? You guys just totally forgot it. Your priorities is not right. You know, and this stuff right here should have been done in 2010, 11, 12, 13. Now we're doing it in 14. This shows you how you think. Okay, you're not thinking right. Okay, they have these many items missing. You can't run the village with these items missing. So I hope you have some checks and balances for 2014 if you talk to the finance department about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Annie Ward, oh, sorry.
Yes, Mayor, to your question, Travis. It is controlled by Perry State.
No,
The taxes.
As an extension of that university.
It's controlled by Perry State.
That's not the question.
The
The question is, did you talk about Prairie State and have an extension here at University Park? It'll be under their control, but it'll be their extension.
That's what I'm just trying to tell you. When they get the grant, it will be.
You have to ask that.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Right.
Yes, sir. Ms. Annie Ward.
That 30 minutes up.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Hope everybody's having a good night. Can you hear me? This is a light note. On a light note, God's Nation Meeting Center is getting ready to offer an after-school program which will include helping the kids with their homework and tutoring. And it will start March the 3rd, that's Monday, and it will be from 3 to 6, Monday through Friday. And it's for all ages up to 18. A box lunch will be included because the kids will be there in the evening, and it's free. And if there's anyone that wants to help come and tutor the children, feel free to give us a call at 773-675-9164. We would love for you to come and help us. Also, starting in the summertime, they will also be offering a day camp that would include breakfast in the morning and lunch, which is also free. So, if you have any questions, once again, that number is 773-675-9164. 9164. And that's God's Nation Meeting Center down at 515 University Parkway, right behind Speedway. So I look forward to seeing all of you all coming down to help the children.
Thank you so much. The last one we have is Rose Melvins, and then we're having our 30 minutes is up. I'm sorry, we'll proceed with yours. Come on, next time. I'm sorry, I said after hers, 30 minutes is exceeded. Trustees want to proceed with our board back. We had one more, which is Patty. If you want to extend it for one more? Okay. All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor.
Yes?
And
Good evening.
good to see you, board members and residents who are in attendance. First, I would like to commend Mrs. Warren for doing a thorough and painstaking evaluation or investigation of the GED program that has been going on at UP since the fall. She has taken a very unpopular stand, obviously, but I wonder if anybody heard the auditor 2 weeks ago. Anybody here? He said that this village is in deep trouble. We're in deep trouble. And bottom line is, there are a lot of things that we simply can't afford. I was looking at my Comcast bill today. There are some things I can't afford, like my second phone line. It's got to go. And doing budgets is very painful because nobody's going to be happy. You know, somebody's always going to say, well, you know, they did away with this, they did away with that. The kids program on the corner, that might not ever get finished because the bottom line is we just don't have the money. And I think that when we replicate, duplicate programs that are already in existence, and I saw on Channel 4 that there's also one in Roney, Tuesday and Thursday, from 1 to 4. We don't have to be everything to everybody. And we have got to worry about getting our village on good financial ground. A question regarding the education committee that was set up 2 weeks ago or whatever with Oscar Brown Jr. heading it up and selecting his committee. Do you have to be a trustee to head one of these committees, or can any resident do that?
Actually, there's a consortium at Governor State, as Dr. Lynn spoke of, and I do attend them, and they open it to the public, anyone, and that's what she's advocating, that everyone come and be a part of that. So it is, they open up everything to everybody all the time. You don't have to be a selective committee or anything to be a participant of that, of any of the programs that they have.
But this is a group
Well,
that is
I have nothing to do with that.
You know, that is representing our village.
Well,
Okay. So, you know, I'm just curious about that because I would think, isn't the school board president a resident?
yes,
Okay.
and she does attend.
I would think that she would be an excellent representative, no disrespect, but I would think that she would be an excellent representative. And of course, we do have our former school board president for many years, but I don't think we'd ever see that. No. Yes, cultivating life, which we might see in 2014, the way things go. But, you know, I think that these individuals should be considered.
The 3 minutes is up.
And that's all for tonight.
If you have anything later submitted in writing, we'd be glad to respond to you. Thank you very much.
It's been a while.
I'll
Ms. Nettles, the ordinance established that the GSU Liaison Committee is to be made up of members, chairman to be selected by the board, and then the chairman chooses his members from the Board of Trustees. So it specifically says that in the ordinance in regards to the GSU committee. I did get a letter from Ms. Taylor. I'm currently working on my response to Ms. Taylor in regards to the GSU committee. But there are various things that this committee will be working on. Right now, I'm trying to get input from staff, and I'm also taking some advice from council in regards to what should be our approach towards approaching the university. I'm glad, Ms. Could you tell me your name?
Dr. Wynn.
Dr. Wynn? Dr. Wynn, first, sorry for forgetting your name. I will start attending these also. And the idea is for us to work together, to get the university and us to work on various projects that we can work together with. One of the things I'd like to see, I'll just go ahead and tell you that right now, is with the Mandel Sculpture Park and trying to get that expanded into Pine Lake. There are other things too that will require the university to pay money. However, upon advice from council, maybe that's not the first thing we ought to try. We ought to try and work on something else. But another thing that kind of bothers me, and that I know I'll be working on very soon and very quickly, and trying to get this resolved before it comes up again, is the Martin Luther King Day celebration. So those are a couple of things. Again, it's something I'm working on right now. My practice picked up a little bit, so I've been kind of behind, but I will be working on it. But as far as joining the GSU Liaison Committee, no, it's a committee that's made up, that chooses a board chairman, and then the chairman picks members from the board.
You tell us who's on.
Oh, if you want to know who I picked?
Well, you mentioned money, and we have, our clubs have money to feed into projects that University Park wants to do. Each one of the clubs that I'm faculty liaison over, we have a fund that we use for civic engagement, community involvement, so we can pitch in some small amounts of funds, you know, I don't need $10, a couple $100.
All right, a couple hundred.
We can pitch in to help the university because we're both in University Park, and so we have to work together. So all the clubs do have their own separate budgets that we can feed some money into projects that are benefiting the community as a whole, GSU and University Park and the residents.
Yes, and yes, I'll use that too, but there's also bigger issues. I'm talking about, like, government university kind of service issues, things like that. So those are things that I hope to work on, but I'll be more than happy to work with the civic engagement portion of it. I'll try and attend those meetings, or if I can't attend it, I'll sit on the committee. Oh, by the way, the people on the committee are Liz Williams, Keith Griffin, and Joseph Rudez. I picked the four that agree with me the most. I had planned to pick someone else.
Not that I'm most qualified.
Yes. Yeah, I had planned to pick someone else, but due to his response to the formation of the committee, I decided that wasn't right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Because I would just like to comment on his last comment, just basically for Professor Wynn, and that is I objected to the committee because it usurps the power of the mayor and the work that she's been doing with President Maynard. Since she became the mayor, we had no relationships with Governor State. When I was on the school board, with the school district, we tried to work on a charter school with the GSU. It didn't work out, and GSU has been working with the school district on science programs and a number of other things. So I did object, and he's correct on that, even though I'm probably the most qualified person to work with the university since I did that when I was in corporate life. I was a corporate liaison to a number of universities, and I've worked with them. So, but I disagree with the whole premise of the committee. I believe that should be a function of the mayor. If he had ideas on how to improve that relationship with Governor State University, then he should have ran that through the mayor. That's just my opinion. So I'm glad he didn't put me on the committee.
I have to respond to that last part. The mayor is also a de facto member of the committee. Obviously, has no voting power, and this in no way stops the mayor from going to meet with whoever she meets with. at Governor State University, so I have to disagree with that comment.
And let me, Mayor, if it's so kind of you, can I just tune in for a second, please? This committee is basically about getting things done. Here we are almost 4 years and we have not produced any fruit. So does it really matter on who gets the job done? Or does it matter about getting the job done? Let's take the focus on getting the job done for the overall community. And about the individuals or who heads this or whose title is this, it makes no difference whatsoever. It's to reward the university and the community. It's to form a working relationship with truth, trust, and transparency about getting things done. Apparently, the majority of the board has been able to get things done. And that's all that counts, is getting things done for the benefit of the community and the people. And that's what it's truly all about. The board is composed of legislators, that people who actually have the opportunity to come back and pass a vote and get something done. That's what it's about. And to hear Trustee Payton jocking himself up, saying that he's the most qualified, we have to take I out of things, because there's no I in 10.
I totally disagree, because I tried to go review over this 3 years ago. You wouldn't answer my emails. I was at GSU then, and we tried to form a relationship then. So I have to disagree here, and you would even answer or respond to my emails. I tried to get that relationship going with Governor State.
Well,
You would not respond to me at all.
Can we try again? Because
You're on my list, so I don't know.
I'm quite sure I am on your list, because
You gotta
actually,
fix that relationship first.
well, I'm sure once you've been sent here to target certain individuals or whatever, we're not going to get into that. But I really can't recall that.
Just to say the words here. Just to thank you all for coming here anyway, to let you know there are a lot of information that Governor State, and as he said, as the leader, there is an an organizational tie that you're supposed to be doing. I'm sure certain things President Obama does that everybody else doesn't do, although he's kind of experiencing the same thing as far as when it comes to the other part, Republicans or whatever, that everything he says is wrong, everything he does is wrong. Right. However, I understand that, seeing that feeling, but there is an organizational chart of authority. The CEO, it was something I saw a president said, and I was looking at Black History, he said, the buck stops here. When all is done, I get those letters, I get those informations, and I share them with the board. For whatever reason, it's the way it is, it is. But I do, and as Trustee Payton said, I have built a great, fantastic relationship with Governor State. Yes. I have participated in, they have not stopped anyone on this board from participating. She just invites me for whatever reason. When we had the groundbreaking, I invited the entire board there. So I open it up for everyone, whatever they want to do. That's what she does. Nobody disrespects Dr. Payton as the head of that school. And I respect that totally. So with that said, if you want to, the website is always open. There's so many committees there's so many organizations, and it will grant you any type of open arms that you want. That's not necessary, but as he said, it's up to assert my authority, and that's understood. Okay, Ms. Patty Quinn, please, so we can move on. Late night.
Or did they invite the board? You don't have the board.
Thank you, I'll keep it short. Good evening, Mayor and Board of Trustees.
Good evening.
At the last meeting, Trustee, I know to page your name, I couldn't get your name, and I'm truly apologetic. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to come to this podium and attack anyone. If I have a problem with you, I'll talk to you one-on-one. So I truly apologize. And lastly, I want to say, and I want to thank Mildred Morgan for all that she does for Northwood House and the residents of University Park. Lastly, Regional Transit Authority issues grants to replace streets or repair streets. And I want to know if University Park has applied for any of those grants to replace more Thornwood Mall. That street, Thornwood Mall is a senior and disability building, and the street is in very bad shape and it needs to be replaced. Thank you.
Ms. Lynn? Yes. Your answer? Thank you. Okay. No, that won't happen. Okay. Discussion. I don't have anything, Mr. I don't have anything. Discussion of agenda, unfinished business. Can we have to move on. I'm sorry, it's not there. That's the way we do it. Excuse me, this is the way we're gonna do it. Decision agenda, unfinished business. We can do it the next one if you don't mind, Ms. Truss. I don't have anything. I don't have a card from anything. Okay?
I make the motion that we accept.
Okay, if she fills it out, I'm saying I do not, excuse me here. She does not have a card here. When the officer gave them to me, I called them accordingly. Okay?
Mayor.
Discussion on unfinished business. There's nothing. New business. Resolution approving Hill Center Road storm sewer fall contractor payout. Request number 5. Is there a motion?
Point of order, Madam Mayor.
Is there a motion? Is there a motion, sir? Is there a motion? I have a motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second. Moved by trustee Milton Payton, second by, can I see that?
Larry Brown.
Getting all right. Patty Quinn, excuse me. Rose Neville. Annie Ward. Sandra Warren, Robert Travis. I'm sorry, I apologize. Ms. Mary Trustee is here. Is this? I'm sorry. But we have a motion and we'll call you up. Motion? Excuse me?
What's the motion on, Mayor?
We had a motion, who seconded it?
That was a motion on the second.
Oh, Larry, second, okay, roll call.
Trustee Williams?
You got a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Question? Okay.
Is there any particular reason why this is not handled like a regular, bills payable?
Yes, there is. This is a fund that was set aside by BP Amcor a few years ago when they wanted to move a pipeline. Rather than moving the pipeline, they funded some other construction work and the money in the fund. I held it at an amalgamated bank, so we request payouts to pay for the contractors as the work is done. And we submit the payout to amalgamated bank and they in turn pay the contractor.
So they require a resolution in order to pay?
Resolution from the board.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I did have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is a Dryly Road? Yeah, actually, I think they did move that pipe, or they had to do some sort of reconstruction for it.
That the BP pipeline?
Yeah,
That's BP
that's
pipeline.
BP pipeline. I think they actually did that.
It's right here, BP Bank.
They moved the car, they didn't want to, I don't know the specifics of the construction, but I think that the initial project would have called for them to actually relocate a large pipeline, rather than do that, they did some work, some road reconfigurations, and they put up a large escrow.
Yeah,
To build a bank to pay the cost of the construction work. And when the bills come due, we ask the board to approve a resolution to submit to the bank, the trustee, to release the payment.
I just think it was quite a pipe, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Sir? Roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Abstain.
Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudez?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye. Okay, Ms. Truss, please come up. At the time, we got out of order because of Ms. Neville had to come back and put it back. So would you please come to the podium at this time?
Good evening, everyone. And to the listening audience. I would like, since the attorney is sitting here, to ask the attorney to explain very briefly, the kind of government we have here so as to help the residents and some of these people sitting here in the audience. And I would ask that the board, I know you might not do it, and you probably will not do it, but I'm just going to ask you, and because some of the people have already asked me, will you consider changing your ordinance to go back to the form of president rather than mayor? That might solve some of the questions.
I'll briefly explain. I don't think that makes any difference at all. The form of government that University Park has is a statutory manager form of government. And in the statutory manager form of government, the day-to-day operations of the municipality are in the hands of the manager. The manager is hired by the entire board, and the manager is allowed to have a contract. Other than that, the form of government here is a situation in which the mayor or president, it doesn't matter what you call that individual, has executive powers, but because of the manager form of government, it is somewhat limited from what it would be in a non-statutory manager form of government. The legislation in the community is to be adopted by the board, and the mayor generally is required to follow the ordinances. The ordinances cannot interfere with certain executive powers of the mayor, such as the power to make appointments of officers. But in this form of government, the manager has much stronger powers in relationship to the day-to-day operation of the community and with regards to selection of department heads. And that's really the system of government. It's not unusual. It was adopted basically because in a lot of communities they felt that it was beneficial to have a manager who generally was trained in a university in terms of how to operate a government. So this is not an unusual form of government, and I really haven't seen anything particularly unusual in terms of the way in which the government operates. Sometimes there are political disputes in a community, and they eventually get resolved by a vote. Part of my job is to see to it that everybody does get to express themselves, but that eventually things do move forward, and there is a legislative decision. So I don't see that changing. There's nothing to change the title of the mayor from mayor to president or one way or another that would make any difference. The last thing I would add is that because the way the government got created in this municipality, the mayor votes in every instance. In most municipalities, the mayor does not vote regularly, but does have the power to veto. And a veto can be overridden in a village by 4 trustees. But we looked into this a number of months ago. We went back and looked at the history, and so the mayor has been voting on every issue since that period of time. But I don't think, if anybody has a disagreement with the mayor, changing the form of government would not in any way modify that. And part of my job is to see to it that the mayor has all the powers that the mayor has in this form of government.
Next item in the new business, resolution approving a request for voluntary recognition certificate for AFSCME contract, which is the union.
So move.
Moved by trustee, who's that? Rudez, and second by trustee Griffin. Any questions of anyone? My question is, with this said, thank you. I know there is a contract attorney, and if this, hopefully this will be approved. If not, what are the consequences?
Well, the consequence would be that there would have to be a hearing before the labor board, which would be costly, in the event that we wished to object to these positions, which many of them are new positions or newly modified positions that just weren't listed the last time that this was worked out. Mr. Lanier has looked at this with some care and has concluded that this doesn't improperly expand the powers of the union. It would mean that these new individuals would be covered under the existing union contract. I don't know if there has to be any modifications to the union contract, but the only way in which these individuals would not be part of this union category would be a situation in which they were in exempt positions, such as confidential individuals, which I don't believe they are, or if the village wanted to argue for some reason that they shouldn't be part of this bargaining unit, that they really should have to be in their own bargaining unit, and that doesn't seem to be the case here.
Great, and that's why I understand to read, and also there's no cost to the village for this, correct? Mr. Lanier, just make it clear to them. Okay, roll call.
Trustee Williams? Aye. Trustee Oscar Brown?
Aye to the right to collectively bargain.
Trustee Payton?
Aye.
Trustee Griffin?
Votes aye.
Trustee Rudaz?
Votes aye.
Trustee Larry Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Covington?
Aye. Summary request action of meeting. Attached for your approval is the listings of the general operating expenses for the Village of University Park, and the following is the grand total of everyday expenditures for the last 4 weeks, September 12th, 2014 to February 25th, 2014. General operating funds, $22,943.27. Road and Bridge Fund, $2,660.85. Total of Town Center is $824.51. Golf Course Fund, $13,917.26. Motor fuel tax, $9,638.45. Tip 3 is $287,508.14. Tip 4 is $567,733.05. Tip 5 is $1,270,580.25, totaling $2,175,805.78. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Nelson Payton,
Second.
seconded by trustee Rudez. Is there any questions?
Question.
Okay, trustee. I heard it. Go ahead, trustee Williams.
I just got one question here. I see a bill, check here, 79726 for Donna Gaston for $229. Would you tell me what that's for? Finance, Donna Gaston. It says, special events, check number 79726 for $229.
Reimbursement of the furnace money, of the escrow. Okay.
Yeah, it is some type of reimbursement.
For what?
I can give you the details tomorrow, I don't have it in front of me.
Any
What,
others?
what type of special events did she do to generate this
Petty cash fund.
petty cash?
The Human Service Special Events Committee had a $500 petty cash fund. Well, yeah, no, but I do.
I can clarify that. Trustee, may I clarify that?
Excuse me, order, please, excuse me.
Special events and human service committee have a petty cash fund, impress fund, which means whenever they would expend so much money, we would reimburse it and keep it a total of $500 to avoid them coming to us on a routine basis asking for $5 and $50 there. When the fund was set up, Donna Gaston was the president and the checks would be made out to, she was solicited the reimbursement, so. I believe that Travis is now the treasurer, she turned the fund over to him. I don't know why I still said Donna Gaston's name on it, but it's a petty cash reimbursement.
Well, that was my concern, because I didn't think she was in that capacity anymore. So why should the check be in Donna Gaston's name?
The checks are actually made out to cash.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions and concerns?
I have a question.
I'm sorry, Trustee Larry Brown.
With us, with the reimbursements to TIP 3, 4, and 5, what is going to be the turnaround for these individuals to get their reimbursements? I mean, and going with this is, are we going to be getting emails from these individuals telling us that they haven't gotten paid?
If you approve tonight, to get them signed tomorrow, to go out FedEx the same day.
And where are we at with the rest of everything else are we paying our bills on time?
Nope.
Trustee, I've stated so many times before, the village is experiencing cash flow problems at this time. We're paying the bills that we have money. That's the answer for the normal operating expenses of the village. That has nothing to do with TIP payments.
Because I have to say, I'm saying that because as a signatory for the checks, you know, literally, I can tell you I've signed hundreds of checks. And when I get emails from various individuals saying that they have not gotten paid, and that's my, and this is the other concern. Why don't we have a dialogue with these individuals? We run into these issues. Why have we not talked to these individuals to let them know when to expect? Because I tell you, we got checks signed as old as October, November. I'll tell you, I personally signed. So, you know, this is not what I think. It's not what somebody told me. It's what I know. And then when we get emails stating that they're behind in invoices, I got to ask the question: then why are we signing checks?
Well, I don't think it's any surprise that the village is experiencing cash flow problems, and we really need to deal with this when we do the budget process. We operate at a deficit, and most of the time we need to deal with this when we deal with the budget process. For someone to say that there's a problem with holding checks, that's surprising to me. I think we all know we experience this problem every year this time. This is only I'm going through this for the first time, but we experience this problem probably every year at the same time.
No, all I'm saying is, why can't we communicate that to the vendors?
Most of our department heads, they do communicate to their vendors prior to even making a purchase, so at this time of year, that they can expect a prolonged period of time, 30, 60, 90 days before they're paid. And we share this information with them prior to even purchasing from them. Some of them are more proactive as far as, communicate with their vendors than others. We do encourage the vendors to call finance department when they're seeking a payment rather than the mayor or the board of trustees, because that's where we can get the payments out the door. We do share information with them when they contact us.
Okay, just wondering. I say it's not a scolding, it's a general statement. Thank you.
Also, to let you know, that's been my concern. I've been up here. Looking at the TIFs, you can look at the TIFs. We've been behind. Mr. Lanier and I personally looked at those. We personally went back to the industrial park and was trying to catch up. We have letters from them, we do constantly. Trustee Larry Brown, you're absolutely right. We have letters that they haven't gotten paid for years. When we walked in the door, it was millions of dollars of deficits. Mr. Lanier and I went back and negotiated with them and asked them, could we get on a payment plan? Because they were so delinquent in the payments. So that's what we're trying to do now. I know Mr. Lanier is working hard on that, and Mr. Jones. It's been terrible. There were checks, as he said, that were sitting for months and Sundays in a year and had not gotten paid. Since that time, some of the companies have left. I have an email that actually a voicemail, which I will share with Mr. Lanier, that now with the head taxes done, they said they're going to move to Texas, where they don't have to worry about that. Some of them have demanded their monies now that we've put a head tax on them. They want their money and they want it now. They're not going to work with the payment plan that we had set up. So that was not a good move for us, but we're still trying to work with them as much as we can. And again, you can look at the, they have, each one of them have a sheet, and they show you how much money, since 1996, some of them have not been paid properly and on time. So we are trying to work something out and make them current, but they're not happy, but some of them are working with us. And there's one thing I'm concerned about. I did sign a check. I want to make sure that we're doing due diligence when it comes to making these payments. I looked at a check that I did not sign, and it was for $7,000. The PO was for actually $5,000, and we were making a check off for $5,000. So there was a $2,000 check that was a mistake. So I brought that to Mr. Jones' attention. He figured it out, and it's some things that's going on. They have so many things they're trying to do, but we have to be careful on how we're dispersing our funds. And they're trying to do the best they can. I know Mr. Jones, Mr. Lanier has been there for hours at night trying to make this budget right and make our financial stability final. But it's rough. We walked into a lot of debt, and it's going to take a while to get us out of it. That's why we're trying to watch our expenditures and be careful about how we spend our money. Are there any others? Roll call.
Trustee Williams?
Board of Trustees comments? We'll start down here. Trustee Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Viewing audience, those present, I'd like to send my condolences out to Mr. Joe Lopez with the passing of his father. Been there before. Definitely understand. I think a few of us up here have experienced the passing of a parent, and at any level it's painful. No matter how you try to prepare for it, you're never going to be ready for it. But we have to understand that we got to go that way. And that's why it's important on how we treat each other. It's important that we remove the pettiness. It's important that we forgive. The other thing I want to talk about, I know we've had a lot of discussion about the GED program. I want to make my stance very clear. When we did this, we never got any information as to how this program was going to be initiated. And when the individuals got the instruction, and I understand that I hold Prairie State in the highest regard. It's probably one of the best community colleges in the state. But if you have individuals that you are going to give instruction to, I would believe that, number one, you need to assess what they know and what they don't know. And you need to evaluate what you're going to do, or evaluate the program. And we didn't get any of those things. And I think that's where some of the accountability issues come in. Is when you need to know what they're going to do with the program. What are the outcomes? What are going to be? What are the expected outcomes? And for individuals to be given a certificate of participation, if not a degree. I think that's not the expected outcome, is for individuals to get a GED, General Education certificate, not a certificate of participation. So I think, I would like to know that also. Why were they given a certificate of participation and not given the type of instruction that was going to get them a degree? That's what it was geared to do.
May I? Just to clarify a couple of things about the GED program. I've never heard of anyone being given a certificate of participation. The goal of the program was for individuals to earn a GED, a general education diploma. The way it works, and also there was never any extension. The village never paid $4,000 or so for an extension of the program. They didn't happen. They asked us if we wanted to do an extension. We said no, because at that time there were plans to do a second session. The way the GED program works is when the individuals come in, they're assessed at their grade level. They may be assessed at a 9th grade level, a 10th grade level, or 3rd grade level. And then they're segregated according to that level with a general education teacher, and she begins to bring them up to a level where they can test out. At the end of each session, they take another assessment test to see if they've made any progress and what level they should be on next. An individual may be in the GED program from 1 session to 10 sessions, depending on where they are and how quickly they learn. After our first session, the problems arose because the assessment test was never given because there was some sort of confusion with the teaching and the supplies that were led. So the idea, what the plan was to have these individuals come back for the second session and have their assessment test. And then they would know what type of progress they've made. So they have never had that second assessment test. So the goal is for individuals to obtain the GED certificate, and how long it takes them to obtain it is like an individual type of effort. The village initially went to Perry State and asked them to host a satellite here. They said they didn't have funding for a satellite. In University Park, the village agreed to fund the program and to continue to petition them for a satellite here. And that's pretty much where we stand.
And again, I'm only talking about, we're just talking about accountability. Okay, I'm not talking about, and I believe that if we had gotten those things in writing, there's a lot of questions that wouldn't have had to be asked. And this is just my comments. This is, like I said,
Just keep in mind, the first time you try something, it may not, you don't have all the questions, you don't get all the answers. Those things are worked out as you become comfortable performing the task.
That's why you do assessments and evaluations. That's the tool, that's what you use. And these things that you stated, if they did this at first, I think there's a lot of questions that wouldn't have come up. We don't know. You said when they came in at first, they did the assessments and took tests to find out where your abilities are. That's what said. I don't know. That's not. We never got a breakdown of what they were going to do contractually, and that's where I'm at. Because had we gotten that stuff, we wouldn't have. There's a lot of stuff that we wouldn't have been had to deal with, and that's really. But like I said, I'm sure it's going to work itself out. That was basically all I had. I had other things, but in the interest of time, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Griffin. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. I want to read a letter from a resident. She called me and I know she talked to 2 other trustees up on the board. She was wondering why her letter wasn't answered. And I'm going to read her letter in its entirety, and then I'm going to answer her questions as best I can. I pray that you will find the comments of this letter beneficial. Most of the comments are directed to be addressed by the mayor first, then other trustees with information regarding my comments and questions. There is a specific reason that I asked for the response from the mayor first, because the mayor made it clear at the December 10th village meeting that she is in charge. To me, that means that she is the first line of accountability. My questions are arranged in order based on comment. Thank you in advance for your time and your consideration. This is Deborah Taylor. She's a 28-year resident. She has communication. Trustee Payton made the following comment. The mayor meets with the president of GSU on an ongoing basis. My questions are the contents, outcomes of these meetings shared with the entire board on an ongoing basis? I can answer that right now and don't go in front until you know. She tells us what she wants us to hear, and she tells you something else totally different. I'm continuing with the letter. Why would the trustees feel the need to request that the village attorney draft and send the letter read by Trustee Payton to the president of GSU requesting a meeting? I am not condoning the writing of this letter, but I do feel that knowing the reason why it was created, it is more important to the community than the letter itself. Why did the same four trustees feel the need to create a committee to dialogue with either the president of GSU or a liaison? The reason is, again, we're left out. That's why we formed the Legislative and Operations Committee. We're left out. She has a few that she do tell up here, and we all know who they are, but the majority of the board is left out. That's why we formed the GSU committee to talk to President Nate. That's why we're left out. She tell you that we included us. Completely false. Could not be farther from the truth. I'm going on with the letter. According to Mayor's comments regarding the liability of others to interact with those contact persons at GSU, I recall her comment, you have to have a certain amount of literacy to speak to them. Question, no, she hit that just right. Question, were you saying that you are the only one with the level of knowledge needed to interact? If so, I beg to differ with you. The name of Jesus is frequently mentioned during the village meetings. Yes, oh yes. I think this is a good thing. Let me take this opportunity to remind all that Jesus came to earth to show us how to live and be an example. Yet Jesus had 12 disciples. And they came from all walks of life with varying degrees of education. He understood inclusion is more effective than exclusion. He also had wisdom to identify the value of diversity at the table. It is also stated during the finance meeting by the mayor, December 10th, the residents are shareholders. This is very true. Therefore, there should be representation from all facets of this community involved in the process. One way to do this is to establish a committee that is all-inclusive, young, not so young, male, female, educated, not so educated, and so on. Typically, this type of committee is developed at an onset of a major project, not midway. This gives more holistic approach to the process itself and give residents more autonomy and ownership. Mayor, I also heard Trustee Payton specify that variety of ways that GSU and the community are working together to make this village, not the hood, a better place. I just had the feeling that when your team sits before the president at GSU, they never use the word hood in her presence. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I often wonder often wonder why the use of this word is continually used in our village meetings. And Trustee Payton is never told by you, our head official, that this is descriptive, is not appropriate. If this is all right to use this language in front of our residents, then it should be all right to use it in front of President GSU. If this type of description of our village is being used in her presence, then I would request that you rethink the parties that you have chosen to sit at the table, regardless of their level of education. Always, it is refreshing to hear all different ways we are interconnected with the university. This needs to be present at the community in writing. Listening all the positives resulting from our interactive with GSU. That would be something worth reading at our annual State of the Village meeting and reflecting on our actual accomplishment during 2012, 2013. Mayor, regarding the comments at GSU being a college town, is it a sign somewhere indicating this, or why are we just saying it? What resources can be used? Residents refer to this if we want more information on the history of this four-year university, the process, and its conception. Please give me actual source. Mayor, you publicly chastised Attorney Diamond. Once again, I am not condoning the writing of this letter, and I do think that this should have been addressed. However, it is not what you do, but how you do it. You are the mayor, and you spoke to him as though he was a child, contorting your face to the point of badgering. You went too far, really, deep down, and you know you did. You were grandstanding. You talk about the trustees' behavior. You talk about the past mayor, how he behaved. Take a look at the woman in the mirror, get it right. While you have the time and make it right, make that change. Your performance was not merely at all. You reached down to the level of your cheering section and became a follower instead of a leader. We expect more from you. Question. Okay. I'm sorry. Why were you, Trustee Payton and Larry Brown, so quiet when the fraudulent behavior of the developer that you wanted to bring to our community was exposed? Where was your voice then? Mayor, at this meeting you said, I am a person with integrity. Integrity requires something. It requires that you stand when you know that you were right and apologize when you were wrong. Did I miss something? Did I miss apology to the people? If so, then I apologize. State of the village. I'm sure that many residents that wanted to attend could not due to weather. You're supposed to know. On the matter of, I got this on the matter of chastising Mr. Diamond, I have to totally agree. I apologize to him then, and I apologize to him now. But I've been on the other end of that also, and I brought that out many times. How I was talked to and how she treated me, but that's neither here nor there. But also, I don't know why my thing with the developer, I feel that it was in the best interest of the village. And I want to thank Trustee Williams, Trustee Oscar Brown, and Trustee Rudez for standing with me to vote them down. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Because we know what they did in Robbins. It was in the newspaper for about 2 weeks.
Fact, trustee, just say it like it is.
No, I'm just telling you like that.
Tell me like it is. I read her letter. I comment to her letter. She wrote this on December 10th. You had more than enough time to say.
I never got the letter, so you have me at a disadvantage, sir. I would like to get a copy.
Neither did I.
No, sir.
So I
She said she gave it to all the trustees, so I'm only
I'm
doing
telling
what
you,
she
I'm
said.
telling you, I never got it.
Okay. I'm talking, okay? You said it was
I
put
would
in
love
the
to respond
mailbox.
to that.
Okay. All I can say is, she said she put it, gave it to the lady at Village Hall, she put it in the mailbox. So I'm responding to her letter now, okay? So now, I don't know why, but I still feel that we did the best thing for this village. And on the matter of usurping power, usurping authority, usurp means take with force. We haven't took anything with force. We use parliamentary procedure with the vote. So taking something with force, we haven't took nothing with force. You being outvoted, it happens. That happens. So those are my comments. So I hope I answered your question to not only to Ms. Taylor, but to the resident. Those are my comments.
Trustee Rulez?
Mayor, can I just pass for a minute? Let me just gather my stuff. Come on back to me in a minute. Let me just change my, I'll pass for a minute. Let me just come back to me. Let me just change the direction of my comments, please.
Oh, sure. Trustee Williams?
I'm going to be real short tonight. I'd just like to say to all the people out there who want the GED, you will get it through University Park. This is where you live. This is where you want to come and get it. Come and get it. I will fight for you. I am sure that the rest of the other three trustees that believe in helping people get their education will stand beside me, and we will make sure that you will get your GED. That's all I have to say. Thank you, Trustee Austin.
First, thank everybody for coming out and viewing. To the resident who wrote the letter, I too received this same letter. I had actually composed a response. However, when I composed the response, I actually want to follow the forms of the letter. And the way I wrote my response was, why do you feel you need to create GSU Liaison Committee? Is there adequate communication between the board members? That was a letter that Trustee Griffin just read. I will be responding to you in writing as you requested, but I'm going to try and follow the form of the letter. Also, in intervening, she's written another letter asking about something. Chief, I need to talk to you briefly after the meeting. I got the letter to come on to ask you about it. So I'll be answering both of your questions to the resident that wrote the letter, and I'll do it in writing. And if you want me to, you know who you are. You can come back and ask me to read it if you want me to read it, or I'll give it to you. I don't have your, I think I got your number on the other letter, so I'll call you when I have it and I'll give it to you. I have to comment on some of the comments that were made earlier. Now, me and my colleague to my left, we don't always agree. I don't think we've agreed on much. I don't think we've agreed on much. But this part I will agree with him on. Sometimes you have to decide to make painful cuts. And there will be some painful cuts to be made now and in the future. But one of the painful cuts that I will not be making is to this GED program. It's $13,000 or thereabouts, maybe in the $20,000 range if you add the next session. That's a small price to pay for education. I know I've been listening to Jesse Jackson and every other leader that's out there. For every dollar you spend on education, you're saving $5 or $10 down the line with prison costs. I like crime. I mean, outside of here, I'm a criminal defense attorney. That's kind of like what I do. I do criminal defense, I do divorce. So yeah, if you go out and commit a crime and you hire me, you pay me. You're gonna pay me between $1,500 and $2,500. Usually I haven't gotten to the big crimes where I'm getting $10,000, $11,000 retainers. But you're gonna pay me. Well, you're also gonna pay a judge. You're gonna pay a prosecutor. You're gonna pay this police force for arresting you. Now, if I can spend this dollar to give you an opportunity here, $20,000, I mean, I want to do it. Now, as far as wasteful spending,
Trustee Griffin mentioned it earlier, we're about to spend $6.5 million on some developers that went to another village to build. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to compare apples to oranges and all this, because, you know, this was a big development. I kind of wanted it to work, but I didn't trust that developer, and then it was a really bad deal. I mean, it was terrible. That would have been a waste of some serious money. This is not a waste. Now, I understand we can have difference of opinion on they should go somewhere else or things like that, but I don't think so. And I'm going to stick by that. And if I was truly, because I got to say this, it's not about me, it's about we. And we ought to be helping people. It's not about these black chairs. It's about the white chairs. And it's about the people who won't ever sit in these white chairs. You know, this 3%, you know, I mean, y'all come out, you know, fairly educated. Y'all going to come out. This 3% might not ever come out to vote for me. But I'm going to help them anyway. Because it's my responsibility to do what's best for the community. And we're gauging progress. A number I didn't mention earlier was the 0.9%. There are 0.9% of the people who don't have a 9th grade degree. If you need additional help, you need to come on out. And you know what? We're going to run it 2 times. We're going to run it 3 times. And we're going to tweak it. And we're going to run it to get the results that are necessary. Because I'm going to help out that 3%. I'm going to help out the 0.9%. Because this is not about me. I have a law degree. I'm never going to go to a GED class. I graduated from Crete-Money High School. It's about we. It's about the chairs out there and the people who will never sit in those chairs. And as far as me usurping power from America, I don't want to usurp power from America. Nothing would make me happier than when I come to Dr. Webb, come to Dr. Webb, and she's sitting right there with me, and then she's going to come and say, hey, look, there's 4 people that I picked specifically because we seem to agree a lot, and we can probably get something done if I brought it back to them, and we work together. I want to work with everybody. I even want to work with Trustee Payne, even though we haven't agreed much. We've got that. Really? Yeah, the Kids Health Center. Yeah, really. We haven't agreed much. But that Kids Health Center, I voted against the purchase of equipment. But I didn't say it was a bad idea. I even proposed, put together a whole package of what we ought to have done. We should have done a study. We should have looked at different equipment. That equipment was overpriced. And that was sitting there unused, was semi-used. And it was because of a big display and a big show. We had a nice video that talked about the purchase of our equipment. I didn't say it was a bad idea. I think exercise is a great idea. But do I have my keys in my pocket? No, they're over there. But I got recently for Christmas, I got a membership to Exports Fitness. I am supposed to go, and I haven't been. I've been slacking a little bit. I haven't been doing my walks like I'm supposed to, and I know that I should. But the fact of the matter is, having a membership or equipment is going to do you no good if you don't use it. If you don't have a plan, I'm not going to say you have to have a trainer. You can read some books on it. You can go get Muscle and Fitness. They'll teach you how to lift weights. Or you can go to get Men's Health, and they'll teach you a cardio regime. So you don't necessarily have to do that, but the main thing you have to do is start. And the main thing you have to remember is just because you buy equipment doesn't mean it's going to get used. You have to have a plan. And I proposed that. Didn't fly, because back then, I didn't have the votes. And I got voted down, and I guess that's okay. Yeah, you did. And now it's just kind of like, I told you so. Now, I'm going to say one last thing, because I can't let this go. This is Russ. You were here about 2 weeks ago talking about this great case that I had and how I won and impressed the judge. I did spend an inordinate amount of time on that case because it was so important to me that I witnessed because, this guy, if I didn't win, he was going to be put out and probably put out of his house right away. So I spent extra time on that. I didn't charge him for it, but I didn't charge him like I was supposed to. I didn't charge him for every single hour I was in the library. I charged him considerably less. But it was important to me.
and I did. That may make me a good lawyer, but a very poor businessman. He is a good lawyer, and apparently, because I've been to his office, a good businessman. He's got to get paid. You got the best. We got the best. That's it. I was just talking to one of my friends today. I met him I went to a court for him, and he came in to give me a payment. And he was doing municipal law for a village. I'm not going to say which one, but he was doing municipal law. He kind of got out of it now. But when he had to learn something, he went to his books, because we went to law school together. So all I'm saying is, we got a good attorney. We got to pay him. If we want to pay him less, let's get on one accord on some stuff so he can stop billing us for doing things 2 and 3 times and stop criticizing them for things that a majority of the board wants to do. And that'll be all of my comments, and y'all have a good one.
No problem.
Good evening, everyone. During the last board meeting on February 11th, a question came up that suggested that the 2020 Vision Justice for Jacob Foundation had and was receiving some kind of special treatment because the bill, or tab as it was called, for the benefit posted by the village and the foundation had not been paid. First, I want to say that it is an absolute shame that some people want to take even the best and nicest acts of our residents and try to twist and turn it into something that looks bad and deceitful. I am very grateful to all of the members of the foundation for their hard work that they continue to do to help victims of violent crimes. Believe me, I hope and pray that none of our residents have to endure or have to be a recipient of the great work that the foundation is in the process of doing, because that would mean that they were victimized by a violent crime such as gun violence, like myself and my family and my son have been. And to suggest that the victims or their families are trying to get over is a despicable lie and an insult, and anyone who claims that should be totally ashamed of themselves. But back to your despicable suggestive question, the bill that was originally presented to the foundation was wrong and grossly incorrect. It had charges and gratuities in it that were mistakes. For example, the bill had included in it a gratuity of 18% on a charge of about $180 that was calculated at over $680. It was a simple mistake, a typo. The foundation pointed this mistake out to our new restaurant manager at the golf club, and he went over the bill with a careful and unbiased eye. Mr. James McCullen made the corrections in the bill without raising an eyebrow because the mistakes were obvious and innocent. We all make mistakes from time to time because we are human. No one had to accuse anybody else of any wrongful act or deceitful intent. The foundation worked with Mr. McCallum and worked with the foundation and corrected the errors. Once the mistakes were corrected and the foundation and the restaurant manager agreed on what was owed, the bill was paid. And if anyone wants to know when, it was paid in full today. I hope and pray for the day when we realize that we can disagree without being disagreeable. If we learn that one lesson, we might also learn that many of the things that we get so worked up about don't really amount to a hill of beans. Thank you on behalf of L. Graves and Mrs. Davis, event coordinator, and foundation president, Mrs. Davis. Now, as we close out Black History Month, this will be my small tribute to the history of our ancestors. Sometimes we study the past to gain a better understanding of other people and places. But the purpose of the most recorded history is to draw valuable lessons from which we can improve our own lifestyles. What we learn is largely determined by the accuracy and the availability of the legislators of the raw data to which we are exposed. For instance, to the advent of Black History Month, our school children learned all of their Black history when they studied the plight of slavery in the South prior to the Civil War. Very little truth was and still is contained in our children's textbooks about the depths of slavery's pain in America. So it was not a bad idea to set aside 1 month out of the year to concentrate on setting the record straight. Until the advent of Black History Month, the only information received about men and women of color by most white children living in the sheltered communities of the Midwest were the snippets of truth about slavery and the civil rights movement. Now, no matter where you live in America, in the month of February, the airwaves and the satellite dishes are flooded with commercials about Black history that goes far beyond slavery and civil rights. I appreciate McDonald Corporation, Ford, Kraft, and others for my Black history moments. It is about time we taught our Black children that there is more to our history than our ancestral enslavement. Black children today are shocked to hear that Henry Ford bought the concept plans for the first automobile from a Black man. They were just as shocked to hear that Blacks are credited with inventing gas masks, mousetrap, the umbrella, stoplight, and the ironing board. They swell with pride when they hear that a Black man performed the first open heart surgery. And I love to watch their amazement when they find out that highly developed Black empires existed in many parts of Africa, hundreds and even thousands of years ago, way before the onslaught of slavery exploitation in the late 1500s, before the first slave arrived in 1619 in Jamestown. We had history. True, it's important to know something about history. Your history helps to define who you are as a people. Do you know that our Black ancestors, Ito, was the first physician in recorded history? He opened the first hospital in 2700 BC and carved the familiar caduceus that is still recognized as the symbol of medicine. The Greeks even referred to Ihop as their god of healing. And this same physician was also a great architect and engineer. True, history has its purpose, but it also has its place. Our forward momentum as a people can become slow and even stagnant if we dwell too much on past accomplishments. Yes, it's good to reflect on the accomplishments of Dr. Martin Luther King, Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, George Washington Carver, Mary Bethune, Harriet Tubman, Nate Turner, Crispus Attucks, or Marcus Garvey, or Langston Hughes, Paul Lawrence Dunbar, Dinah Washington, Edward Waters, Mahalia Jackson, but only if they motivate and inspire us to press on. Dwelling too much in the past can create deference to the present. It would seem today that we are so busy rejoicing over our past gains in civil rights that we have forgotten how far we still have to go. Something needs to stir the waters of complacency that overshadow our obviously still existing inequality. Let us, in shaping our destiny, set before us the qualities of human justice, love, charity, mercy, and equity. Our average income is still significantly lower than our white counterpart. We are still the last to be hired and the first to be fired in most cases. Our communities are still the major target of illegal drug distribution. We are still rejected for bank loans at an alarmingly high rate. Our communities have the highest foreclosure rates, highest crime rates, highest rate of disease. Our children still make up the largest percentage of incarcerated. We still register too small a number in an upward mobility community. Too many of us still live week to week and check to check. Yes, history has its place, but rest too long on our laurels, and as the saying goes, you may end up with nothing but your laurels to rest on. We can't start the next chapter in life if we keep reading the past chapter. To make a long story short, to continue to do what we continue to do and expect different results is insanity. It is truly time to move forward our community. And those are my comments on our tribute to Black History Month. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Trustee Payne.
It's late, Mayor, we still haven't had an executive session.
I know.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just would like to extend my condolences again, first of all, to your family, Mayor, for the recent passing of your uncle and your cousin, too. Right, so I know you've been through a lot. And also to the family of Mr. Joe Lovelace, who's the chairperson for the Concerned Citizens Committee, who's been a stalwart in this community trying to make it better for over 20 years. I know he's been working with the concerned citizens for at least 19 years, trying to make this community better. Just a reminder of a few things. Again, the Education Advisory Committee will be meeting at the golf course in the conference room on March the 10th. You know, remember the date. It's the second Monday of the month, every month. The Finance Committee meets on the third Wednesday of each month, and the next Finance Committee meeting will be March the 19th. The Human Services, and that'll be at 7 o'clock right here at 90 Town Center, assuming they don't have court here by then. The Human Services Special Events Committee meets on the second Saturday, of the month. And so they will be meeting on March the 8th here at 90 Town Center on Saturday at 9 a.m. And the Concerned Citizens Committee will be meeting, they meet on the second and fourth Saturdays of the month at God Nations Church. And that meeting starts at 11 o'clock and goes to 12:30. And the next meeting for that is March the 8th. And the second one will be March the 22nd. I went to a play last night, Mayor, and I saw you there. Put on by the Toastmasters with Thornridge High School, and Professor Gwynn was there, and the Toastmasters supported thing. It was an excellent, excellent play. I really thought we were at a professional theater. It was that good, put on by the kids from Thornridge. But as I was leaving, somebody came up to me and they said, make sure you're here Friday night for Black History Month. Black Women Rock.
Yes, we do.
Black Women Rock is free, I was told. Yes, it is. Right, so I sent in my confirmation, and that'll begin at what, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock?
6 actually.
7:30. So, if the community gets hold of this, if they could come out and support that, it's free. Mayor, I had somebody ask me a long time ago, more years than I want to recount, if I'd like to make $1 million. I said, yeah. I said, okay, this is what you have to do. You have to jump out of an airplane with no parachute. And I said, no, thanks. And then they said, hold on a minute. Would you do that, jump out of an airplane with no parachute, but the plane is sitting on the ground? Whole different story. You didn't have all the facts. Okay? So sometimes you got to wait and get all of the facts. Now, you heard a lot of stuff tonight from a lot of different trustees. I don't question their motives. I just question how much information that they provide you and that they use for some of their comments. It's one of the reasons why I don't like to watch the Fox News commentators. Is because, particularly when they're talking about our President Obama, because things are so distorted, doesn't even bear reality. I don't know if you've had the occasion to watch some of those programs. I have to turn them off because they're so biased. Now, Robert Travis, who's been a dedicated servant of this community on I don't know how many committees, made the comment a little earlier about accountability. That, this community in the past, from a financial standpoint, had very poor accountability. And that was clearly pointed out by all of the deficiencies that the auditors found from the 2009 audit. And they will continue on. It's like we had almost no accountability system here. From investment policies to staffing, to division of responsibilities, to fund policies and so forth. And that's part of the reason why, for example, we're talking about some of the financial cash flow issues that we had, because we didn't have that kind of planning. And that extends into other areas as well. And that's why the citizens are starting now to come out and to demand some accountability. So they're talking about the GED program, and rightfully so. Again, we're not anti-education, but we are expecting some accountability and some balance in terms of the use of our resources. They're talking about the Justice for Jacob program. You know, I have a question now. If this program was put on, I think, back last September, why is it we're just finding out now that the gratuities were too much? Didn't somebody look at the bill? And back then, I mean, weren't they presented a bill and say, you know, you have X number of people and, you know, something's wrong there? So if that question hadn't been raised, we never would have found that out. We never would have found out also that the bill hadn't even been paid, that it had slipped by somehow. So, you know, the Concerned Citizens Community meeting, which I attend, is starting to ask those questions. They have seen what has been going on in the village, and quite frankly, they don't really care for what is being done, and more importantly, how it's being done. Now, you heard, and you know, I didn't get a copy of Ms. Taylor's letter yet. Perhaps it's in my mailbox if it just, you know, it was just delivered. I haven't been there this week. But, and don't tell me I'm not the only one that doesn't go there every day, you know, because I see some other mailboxes that are full there. I go there once a quarter, whether I need to go there or not, you know, pick up my mail. So, but seriously, she mentioned, and it's probably because it was perpetrated. Now remember that airplane example that I gave, because some of the members of this board talked about the development and went on in Robbins, like he committed some kind of crime in Robbins, defrauded them somehow.
Didn't it?
Well, you know, Robbins was sitting there for a long time, one of the poorest communities in the state of Illinois. Somebody took the initiative, and this was Town Builder Studios, to go and start working with Robbins to put in a quarry there. They found out that Robbins had this quarry, the stone that could be mined. But part of that was that there would have to be some eminent domain. So they had to take some of the houses there. All of a sudden, everybody big and bad gonna jump up and come down and save Robbins, right? Be their protectors. Poor, bad, little Robbins. And they had a fast take program too, because they wanted to move the program forward quickly. Well, this quarry is going to give Robbins, who's bankrupt, over $2 million a year in revenue. Now, to give you some kind of perspective, our real estate taxes here at University Park is only $4 to $5 million a year is what we get. Now, the program of the houses that they wanted to condemn to take as part of the eminent domain for this development, 85% of them were vacant. Boarded up, little shacks. You know what I'm talking about. Anybody's been to Robbins.
You trying to sell them?
Okay, well, obviously, there was no big rush to buy the houses in Robbins. If these 100 homes, as that's what we're talking about, most of them were boarded up. And so the other part, the other 15% of the houses there, they had a program to buy the houses, to pay the people to move, whether it was in Robbins or outside of Robbins, to pay all their moving expenses, including helping them to acquire another property. Okay? See, they didn't tell you about all of that. They only told you that, you know, oh, this developer was fraudulent. And notice how disrespectful they are when they're going, you know, I didn't utter a word when they were speaking, but now they got to put in their 2 comments. See, there's one set of rules for some trustees, and then there's another set of rules for another. Okay? So you know, so now they're going to tell you that this guy was a big bad guy, that they didn't trust him. All right? I mean, when I heard about it to start off with, they told me there was bank fraud and everything else involved. It had nothing to do with that. Had nothing to do with that. So now the program's still moving forward. It's just they're not going to, because of the political pressure that came to bear, they're going to take a slower route as part of the eminent domain process, because the fast track process required support from the state legislature. Okay, but they didn't tell you all of that. They didn't tell you that they were going to take care of the people who were going to be displaced, and this might be the only thing that will help to save the community of Robbins from a financial standpoint. All right? Now, they came to you and they said, well, you know, he came here and wanted $6.5 million. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you take a look at most developments, particularly during the period of time when this occurred, there was a public-private partnership. They saw what they wanted to see. They didn't tell you about Orland Park, given that their developers even about the same amount of incentive, but for less than what was going to happen here. They didn't tell you about Tinley Park or Country Club Hills and a lot of these other communities that work with the developers to provide something to stimulate development so there'll be jobs and more tax revenue. The projected revenue that we would have gotten from sales taxes, from real estate taxes, from the fees and so forth, would have far exceeded the amount of the bond payments. They didn't tell you that also, that it was not going to be any money out of the residents' pockets, because they were going to capitalize the interest and defer the payments until there was enough money there to cover the bond payments, so there was not going to be a tax. But they said, they told you that they didn't want the taxes raised on the citizens. But now here we stand. We're not going to raise any taxes. We got problems paying our bills. We're not going to have that revenue downstream now. So what's next? And not only that, they voted down the Community Living Solutions progress. You talk about black jobs. This is Black History Month, right? Let's give black folks the job. We had a black developer that came here that wanted to build a state-of-the-art senior citizens community housing complex with a gazebo, rooftop gardens, ancillary commercial, and they voted that down. He wasn't asking for anything. He was asking for no incentives at all. Okay? So the only thing I'm asking you is that when you hear them say something, you know, make sure the airplane's on the ground. You're getting all the facts. Okay? Now, they say they want to move things forward here with this Governor State Liaison Committee. If they truly were, they would have at least talked to me, not that I would have agreed to participate, but I served as a college relations representative for one of the, at the time, Union Carbide Corporation, which at the time was the 25th largest corporation in the United States. I coordinated things at Southern University down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Had a whole team representing all the divisions of Union Carbide, from the nuclear division to ever-ready batteries to glad bags, all of it. I worked with the university on their Student Retention Development Committee, and later became the chairperson of that entire thing. It was so successful that the other people who attended our cluster, our business and industry cluster, went to their other schools and started the programs that we started there. I received the presidential citation as a result of it from Ronald Reagan. Yes, I do go back that far. Okay. So, you know, so what I'm saying is that I'm qualified, and I also work with Illinois Institute of Technology. I work with the University of Wisconsin. I work with Dr. Bell down at Purdue University, and recruiting minority engineers and business people, accountants. You know, I taught college at the graduate school of Governor State University. I taught at Prairie State for a couple of years. I do have a little background, and I was the president of the school board for 8 years, or 6 years, and on the board for 8. So, you know, when they tell you that they want to move forward and they want to develop this relationship, you need to make sure that the airplane is on the ground, and they're not talking about the next election, which is really basically what this is all about. Okay? That's just my opinion. Okay? So they want to slam the Kids Health Club. You heard them talk about, well, you know, it was a mistake to buy the equipment. No, it wasn't a mistake. We had to buy that equipment within weeks. The person who sold us that equipment, Bernard Alsbury, used to be a coach right here in University Park. Grew up here in University Park. His kids went to Creek-Mooney High School. He's now the mayor of Hazel Crest. And he wanted to work with us to try to develop something for our kids. He wanted us to have it first because Palos Park and some of these other places were already calling him, asking him. But because we were a minority community and he was here, he wanted to work with us, but he was going with a different business model and shut down his business, so we had to grab that equipment as soon as possible. Could we have saved a few dollars? I don't think so. Because by the time you search the internet, well, first of all, you know, whether the equipment is used or not, it's especially designed for kids and women. By the time you searched the internet to try to find something that's comparable, that would have been long gone. In addition to, it wasn't going to save you much money because then you'd have to ship the equipment here. So, I really hope that Trustee Ashley Brown Jr. is true to his word and would like to work on it. The reason I haven't worked on it is simply because I know we don't have the money. And that's why we have to stop. We don't have the money, and we don't have any prospects of money, which is even worse because we voted down the developments. Black development. The University Village development also, we talk about black employment, wanting our people to get jobs. He was going to guarantee us 25 or provide for 25% of the people that worked on that project to be from University Park. He was going to, and he proffered us, because he wanted to even rent a space here in our town center so that people can go there to apply. He hired Ms. Flowers to be his project manager. She's a Northwestern graduate and lives here in University Park, to manage that project to make sure everything went well. So when you hear all these good things, just make sure the airplane is on the ground, folks. And I want to thank Trustee Griffin for giving me this time, because normally we would only have 3 minutes. Okay, so I decided that I'm going to use all of the time that I could, since we don't have to abide by the 3 minutes again, because I think it's important. So when Ms. Taylor puts in her letter, she wondered why we didn't respond. It's because we were trying to be courteous to people not in the audience, but also that are viewing us. There's a lot more that I could say. But at this time, I'm going to reserve the rest of my comments and the balance of my time there for the next time around.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, can I ask you one question, please?
Yes, sir.
Point of order.
Why do you sit there and allow Trustee Paper to advertise a private entity on access when it has nothing to do with the village?
Everybody's speaking the way they want to, and I give them that right, just like what you just said.
Okay.
That's everybody. Like it was at the last board meeting, which I did not attend. Okay.
Trustee Griffin called me an asshole, Mayor, and I take that as a real compliment. That means I must be getting the right notes.
Wow. I apologize for that, sir. And he came up with, what's that? Huh? Civility?
Yeah, I think he was the one that wanted the civility ordinance that we all agreed to and we passed, that we wouldn't denigrate, the other
Yes.
Trustees. We treat them with respect,
Yes.
Mayor, because he felt, maybe justifiably so, that he hadn't been treated with respect. So it's unfortunate. I'm sure he will regret it and apologize later.
Okay.
I don't have to apologize. Somebody to say something. Okay?
Thank you all, and my comments for tonight are, I've been engaged with conversations with the White House Initiative, and African American children, positive programs for our youth, school issues, Department of Education. Ernie Duncan has given me the rights to help me and support me. It's a lot that's been said here tonight. Someone told me a long time ago that sat on this board and said, you know what? If you want to, you gotta understand one thing. To be up here can be thick skinned. And I can't believe the day in the era that we're in that our African-American men disrespect the black woman in such a manner. It's, you always say, and the women too. And it's really, really bad. They don't really understand what's really going on. When a man sat in the seat, he did whatever he wanted to do, and respectfully so, and I respected that. I did not barge into his office and try to take over like the four of them have done to me. They did not come up and form a legislative committee like they have done. Some of them were right up here. 3 of them are up here now that was under his administration. But not one time was he disrespected. He even fired Griffin before a comment, and he said that himself. And he said, I came up here and I had this, and he came and he said, all right, he was gone. I didn't hear any of this. I didn't hear women coming up here speaking unrespectfully to him, under his clothes, calling him, threatening me. I have been threatened, and residents have told me, I've been threatened. But you think I care? No, because the Bible says that you can drink poison and it won't even touch you, and I believe that, and I thank you. And as far as me, I will never deny Jesus, because that's who's the runner of my life. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct my path. Not man, no woman, no child, or anything else. And I stand on that. And I would like to think about Malcolm X being Black history. Malcolm X, and I didn't have to have anyone to write this. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Obama, Nelson Mandela, and Jesus. All these men were persecuted, were lied upon, were hated. So thank you so much for putting me in that category. I am proud to be that, and I know that I'm doing, Trustee Griffin, please, don't interrupt me. I'm speaking, and you don't like that. You're mumbling as disrespectful as always. And also, Frederick Douglass. We have all these historical people and great women that led us. You look at the woman, and I'm not going to take too much more of that, and I want someone to remove that disturbance, okay? I'm not going to take it, okay? And that's your own opinion, and God bless you with it. And I'm going to say, as I said before, look at the people that before us. I know our ancestors are sick. To see what they fought for us to be able to have the opportunity that we have up here. And what we're doing with it. We're laughing stock. Our own attorney told us that we need our own reality show. What does that say about you black people? The reality shows I don't even entertain it because it's degrading and embarrassing. And I will not even allow that in my spirit. And as far as the GED program, Ms. Warren has the right to do what she wants to do because she's a taxpayer. Before I came up here, 17 years I volunteered in this village. I would like to see some of the people up here and in this village go to the high school. I went to the last board meeting. The fighting, the things that's going on there, it's horrible. Be a mentor. Don't let them get to that point. Don't allow your children to be dropouts or they don't succeed in school. Let's stop them before they get to that point. That's where I'm at with that. We shouldn't even have to have it. And the average income in university earns $50,000. And we are getting ready to be a 4-year college, and yes, I will say that again, Ms. Taylor. And I have asked that, and that is a discussion that we're talking about putting a sign up. But it'd be ludicrous right now to put it up before the college is a 4-year and the ribbon is cut. And as far as what I do with Governor State, I've been working over there hard and fast as soon as I came up there to make a difference. As Trustee Milton Payne said, we didn't have a relationship, but we have one now. And I have been reporting, falling on deaf ears, when I do go there, and Mr. Lanier goes with me. And we come back and report. Other things that I do there, yes, I'm there a lot because I voluntarily do that. There were some students, one right here, that wanted to be in the Toastmasters program. I've been in since 1997. And they wanted to be a part of it. I funded that. I participated, and I sponsored those children. I will be receiving an award in Joliet next month for what I've done for children. And they told me they've been tracing me since I was a trustee. And I will be receiving that award as well as others. And we also have a Democratic South Suburban Women's Organization, which I see that our trustees in, and I sponsor some of those. When you're a leader, you show leadership, you sponsor, you help, you participate. Those are the things that I do. When I'm at Governor State, 90% of the time, I'm there voluntarily. I'm not meeting with Dr. Mayman, and if they would ask me something, or respect at any time, that word is not in their vocabulary when it comes to me. And since I've been up here, it's been a battle, but I know I'm doing something good. Because other than that, it wouldn't have been anything. I wouldn't have to go through all the persecution. And I know that I'm making a difference for the people. The people are making a difference. The people are more active. The people are trying to make a difference here too. So I'm not concerned with what they say. Those are words. It means absolutely nothing. I know the battle I'm going through because God put me here for a reason. And Ms. Taylor, you can talk to me personally. I tell everyone, have coffee with the mayor. Come and talk to me. And I appreciate that, Ms. Quinn, what you said. You have something to say, you talk to that person individually. Not grandstand. I'm not trying to come up here and, as the trustee said, witch hunt. It's been on me since I've been up here. And it's okay, because I can take that. Because I know who I am and whose I am and what I represent and what I stand for. So we should encourage one another, seeing things as this, to make us really put ourselves together. I have tried to work with this board. It's automatically, no, not gonna work with her. I don't care what I do. I've done 2 retreats with them. I said, what do we want to bring this village to? What do we want to make it happen? Nothing, okay? But I'm like this, and that's why I carry this. See this, make it closer. I don't care how you try to swallow me, I'm gonna choke you and I'll never give up. I'm here for a reason. Black history is an abomination for us to even say that up here, the way we're performing. We are the only, and I keep saying it and I will say it to the end, we are the only African Americans in Will County. I am only first black mayor in Will County. Wake up, people. They love this. This is an embarrassment. Instead of getting our arms together and working together, okay, we're not going to understand. That's understood. When I saw those black children last evening, my heart just was so happy. I was so proud of them, and they're winning in the nations. And we're going to follow them. Everybody should. Those are children that's going on and going up. So, like the trustee said, understand where the airplane is. Because you're not getting the facts on everything. If you want to come to something, Governor State is a wide open book. The website is open. You can come anytime you want to. When I meet with her, she calls those meetings. And she has the right to call head to head. I'm not going to supersede my chief. If my chief says, I'm having a meeting, I'm going to say, well, you know what, I'm coming in your meeting. No, that's totally disrespectful if you know anything about corporations and organization and respect. You don't just barge in your boss's office and take over. I'm sure Chief of Police not going to let another sergeant come and say, well, you know, today, I think you're out of order. I'm coming in and taking over your job. What? Are you serious? It's just protocol, proper protocol and respect. And as I said before, and I'll say it to the end, it was never done before when a man sat here. Whether you like it or not, I got slacks on. They'll help you out. I'll wear a tie, that'll help you out. That'll help you out, make a difference. But I am not going to take down for anyone at any time. Make it real clear. Make it real clear. I was silent when everyone else talked. You see that. They get up, they walk, they disrespect all the time. Never stop. It's not going to stop until somebody teaches them right. And I have received, I do the best I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep on doing it to the end. Abraham Lincoln. Intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Dr. Martin Luther King. And in my closing, I would like to also give my condolences to Judge Hooks he lost his wife to cancer. Also to Joe Lovelace, to one of our residents and employees, Mr. Hutton. It was so sad, I really felt bad for him. And Miss Martin, she lost a relative. And we would like to keep our prayers up for Miss Mary Williams and our past, well, she was our ex-clerk, Miss Mary. We love them, we love you, and I love each and every one of you, and you can't do anything about it. So keep the prayers up, and we will do okay. I believe in God, I have faith that it will overcome. And I'm hoping that God can deliver us. If not, you're lost. And you see this? It's a piece of wood. I can't do anything about it. I can't bend it. I can't mold it. It's square and hard. And unless you prick in your heart to do better for your people and yourself and your life, it is what it is. And I will continue to do what I'm ordained to do by God. And that's to love you and to be a good person and be honest. No matter what anyone else says, that does not matter. We need to teach our children ourselves. It's nothing. When people say words, they drop to the earth and they dissolve. And that's why I'm where I'm at today. And it does not matter. I love me and my family loves me. And that's all that matters, and God does. And I will never stop saying his name. No matter what you believe in, that's how I am. And I'm going to extend that to everyone. And at this point, I will ask that we go into executive session and we adjourn to the regular meeting. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
That's for the purpose of pending litigation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Roll call, I'm sorry.
Second.
Aye. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, guys.